for myself, trying to prove my existence. I wouldn't listen to nobody else. But then time caught up with my plans. And when the day broke, it exposed me for the fool that I really am. But you said, let me lead you, let me take you by the hand, yeah. So I can feed you from a good and precious land. All my eyes have seen, you're all I need. You're all I need, yeah. So now I'm learning to walk in your steps. And through the valley of confusion, I've been losing my apprehension with death. But you said, let me lead you, let me take you by the hand. So I can feed you from a good and precious land. Now I owe it all to you, giving my heart to you, freedom becoming true. Nobody else like you, do what you promised to. And I'm so grateful for your love. And all my eyes have seen the wonders of your mystery received. I've tasted what it means. Now nothing else is good enough for me. You're all I need. You're all I need. You're all I need. You're all I need. Oh, I need you. Yeah, I need you. Oh, I need you now. Now I owe it all to you, giving my heart to you, freedom becoming true. Nobody else like you, do what you promised to, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for your love. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I need you in my life.
Yes, sir. We are live in the Lion's Den, and we're grateful to be here. Grateful. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the Young Lion TV podcast. Like, we do it live every Tuesday night, and we got to talk about what's been going on, man. There's so much going on in the world. Shout out to all the people that are joining us in the chats right now. Make sure you guys hit that like button, share the video with everyone, because the algorithm does not like what we do over here. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hit the intro. You're watching Young Lion TV.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, won't you get up and start fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding.
Yeah. Okay. We here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see my mom in there, and I see Uncle Denny already saying hello.
What up?
Make sure you guys, again, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. If you're on Rumble, hit that Rumble up button. If you're on X, hit those hearts, man. Share the video. Facebook, share it. Twitter, Twitch, all the places that we're streaming live right now. We appreciate you guys. Again, this is the Young Lion TV podcast where we get together and talk about life, talk about the world, talk about politics, culture, relationships, all kind of stuff, even just react to some crazy stuff that we see on the internet sometimes. And, try to give our perspective on things coming from men who have learned a lot along the way. This is something that we've done for decades now as men, just trying to continue to grow. And we love to have these conversations in front of people because it shows a different perspective on life and how men can talk about things. So without further ado, I got sitting next to me one of my oldest brothers, one of my best friends in the world, and he's also the coolest Asian in the world. Rocking the Grateful merch, he is Mr. Simone Chang.
What up? What up?
Yeah. And then, of course, on the other couch, we got my two brothers, my brother-in-law.
I like how you zoomed out already because James,
I already knew
James already started.
James likes to stretch that couch, so I already was like,
up on this man,
I know. So I was like, let me.
We're Republicans, guys.
So I had to do the view a little wider this evening.
Right.
But he
June isn't here yet.
The most confusing man in the podcast world because he's looks black, but he eats Indian, and he's got the Spanish last name, Mr. James Garcia in the building.
And I'm biracial.
Yeah, biracial.
The eats Indian part gets me every time.
He eats Indian.
I do.
Yeah.
I do actually eat a lot of Indian food.
A lot of blacks don't eat Indian, so that's very that is a distinction.
Just don't eat Indian street food.
My mother-in-law says, "Are you guys cooking curry?" I'm not coming over.
She don't like curry. She don't like curry.
No, not that much.
Yeah, I'm telling you, black people don't really mess with Indian food like that.
No.
Like
Wow.
Indian food, like anything that has unfamiliar smells and like sauces and stews. Yeah. I'm specifically talking about American black people. Yeah, of course. But yeah.
And plus, our house does smell like curry.
Yeah, it does smell like there's no getting around that.
No getting around it.
I've been around it for 2 decades now, and
But your wife likes it, right?
Oh, she does. Listen, we wouldn't be together if that was the first
that's
test.
a deal breaker right there.
Oh, no. I mean,
Yeah.
We're going to cook. And I make my own green seasoning like you guys do.
Yeah.
So it's just the aromas. It's not just curry, but the aromas is... We cook, and people always say, "I don't like the smell of food." I'm like, "Go away,
Yeah,
go away."
that's crazy.
Man,
Like,
I
crazy
love
to me.
coming into y'all house. It's smelling like food. I'm like,
Listen.
man, it smells. Jake is
Every
cooking.
time-
Like it
Don't bother
smells
me.
delicious.
Every time my daughter's friends walk in the door, they're like, "Well, it smells so good in here. Can we have some food?"
Right.
To the point where Arya calls them the homeless people now. She's like, "Oh, the homeless people are back,"
Aria is hilarious.
because they always coming over trying to eat our food. But you did make a good point though. That Indian street food. Have you been seeing the
Oh no,
videos?
no. Listen,
Yes.
hurt my heart. Hurt my heart.
I got an algorithm going where I see all of it now.
Yo, I
it's
think
nasty.
it's hitting everybody because it's been hitting my wife. Like,
Yeah.
she's been showing me a whole bunch.
Yo,
It's
that is
so-
next level.
Yes.
Disgusting. Like, oh my god! Because when you watch Anthony Bourdain or like Bizarre
Right.
Food, they always hit
They
the
didn't show
street.
that.
They hit the street markets, and it's always like, wow, look how good it is.
Right.
But those ones, I don't know. Maybe those are in the poorer areas.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is cultural. I think it's
Yeah.
culture. I think the people there have accepted it because I love Trinidadian food, but we ate China and doubles out of a Home Depot bucket.
We did. We sure enough did.
So
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you're not used to it or you don't care, but I think part of the issue, or not issue, part of the thing I see is this: everyone's always understand, why does the West have so much rules?
Yeah.
Like we feel trapped here,
Right.
Like,
Regulations,
regulations,
yeah.
and I'm like. If you guys just look at those old videos of the 1900s, early 1900s, 1940s, 1950s,
yeah.
bro, they were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
They had to come up with this because people were falling sick.
Yeah.
New
Yeah.
York had so much horse manure.
Right.
Like, it was just...
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people have made that argument even when it comes to vaccines, as an argument against vaccines, that if you really look into the studies, it's actually how much more sanitized we've become.
That's what it is. It's
Yeah.
more to do with fecal matter and the waste and the waste that humans produce and
Yeah.
animals that causes this much bacteria. And if you look at it, even if you look at places in Africa where the most disease, India, South America, where the most disease accumulates is right around where people live and they house animals, and it's like it's all this stuff mixing,
that
and it's not far.
intermixture, yeah, yeah.
It's just really that.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
I
know.
do think there's definitely something connected to cleanliness.
Oh,
You know,
I mean,
if you think about like the Bible and just the rules.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, they were very strict about how they
Yeah.
had. That's where like the kosher concept comes
Yeah,
from. Even
right.
halal, all of that is like
But the washing,
Yeah,
and how
yeah.
you
The
washing.
Man, we went on a tangent.
we
finish,
did.
finish
I know,
introducing.
I know, and I gotta
Got
keep
right.
the intros going.
Got right into it.
Of course, he is my big brother, but he's everybody's big brother. The preacher, teacher, people reaching.
not gonna eat that Indian food.
Jacob Eugene
Who is
Evans the
thoroughly
third.
disgusted by Hindus.
Yeah,
Not gonna eat that. I saw one where dude was, he wiped his nose. He was taking stuff out of the rice, and then he coughed on it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like
I love the
that's so
parodies.
bad,
The
man.
parodies are the
The
best
parodies
way.
Yeah, they are funny.
the parodies are funny. But let me keep it going. So holding it down this evening on the producer side, because my mom, shout out to my mom. She is in Florida right now. She's in the chat. I see you, Mom. We love you. My mom said, I remember going to an Indian doctor and his office always smelled like curry. I remember that doctor too. But yeah, my mom's in Florida visiting with her mother, my grandmom and her brother, and just taking care of her right now. So we got holding it down. My other producer in the house. She is my daughter. Go ahead, put it on you. Put it on you. Go ahead. Yeah, Elise Evans. Elise Evans. And she's rocking the Grateful shirt, her Grateful hoodie. Yeah. And then I am the navigator trying to control the streaming clips and everything that we're doing here. And I get it all the time. Someone came up to me 2 days ago and was like, yo, you was in Boston last week?
Yeah, you should go with
I
it,
said,
man.
nah, everybody always thinks I look like somebody. But yeah, that's
You should
me,
go with it. You should
Jamie
be like,
Evans.
yeah, I was in Boston.
I was in Boston.
I know he's glad that Blake Griffin retired. He's like,
He's doing commercials now, though. I just saw him in a commercial. I'm like, here we go.
if he grows a beard, it's over.
Yeah, I know.
Weren't you at the White House?
Yeah,
Connor?
weren't you at the White House? No. Lisi Abuela said she loves you. Love you too. Okay.
But back to Indian food.
Yo, yeah.
Back to Indian food.
Some nastiness, dude.
Cleanliness.
People.
But
I'm not even gonna.
But this is what I'll say. So those clips are what black people have in their minds when they see it in the restaurant. They think it's like they feel like that's what they're getting. So that's why
I think everybody now.
Yeah,
Not
that's,
just black people.
but I'm saying like even before those clips came out, like
Right.
a lot of people that couldn't like stomach Indian food,
Right.
they feel like that's what they're getting. You know what I mean? I remember
Yeah.
when we would go to pho and stuff like that. Remember we ate Indian food in England?
Yeah, in London.
Yeah,
Dave was like,
and Dave was like, "Oh,
he's eating.
Okay, I don't know how y'all eating this. Like,
I gotta coat
he's
my
eating all the
stomach."
naan. Yeah,
I think that's what it is more than anything. I don't think they're so much worried about the cleanliness. I think they're worried about how it's going to affect them.
yeah,
Like they're very worried about the bubble guts, man.
Yeah,
You gonna
yeah.
get the...
yeah.
I think it's a lot of that. When I hear people talk
Well,
about this,
Stan did.
Stand it.
Stan did. Yeah,
what, he got it?
Stan had to run to the bathroom. Yeah,
So I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think people know, like especially with spicy food,
Yeah.
because it's very pungent. So they know they're like, wait a minute, this is gonna be
and that is true though. Like if
That's true.
if you're not
You're
if
not
your
used to it,
stomach is
yeah.
not used to spicy food,
Right.
it will do a number on you.
right.
I'm used to spicy food.
Yeah.
Sometimes it hits me when I
Right.
eat them peppers.
Right.
Right, and there's a reason for eating peppers in those cultures because it's tropical. Spices actually not just because it's tropical, but spices are actually good for people because metabolism. And number two, it kills parasites.
Parasites.
And it
yeah.
keeps you regular.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
there's reasons for this.
And that's what I think people don't get. Like they think you're just eating spicy food just to eat spicy food. They don't understand
Yeah.
it. Like there is a reason why that got introduced.
Right. I learned this about coffee not too long ago, a little while ago, but Ethiopia, right? Mm-hmm. But coffee was mixed with butter.
Yeah.
Pure butter, camel butter or goat's butter. But that was for long travel.
Yeah.
They ate a type of bread and coffee, and that would sustain them to pretty much all the way, like the full 2 days maybe,
Right.
or day,
Right.
And then they would, when they get to a certain place, they would kill a lamb. So, somebody saw that and was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
you could drink this as a morning thing." It got commercialized, but coffee was almost like it would sustain you, like you eat the bread, like the bread that they made, and they would drink the coffee because you see them. They take the coffee, and it's boiled in like a copper or something like that, and then they add in this butter into it. There's no sugar, there's no cream, there's no nothing.
Yep.
They just add in this butter that they carry around. A guy has a goat skin and he takes it. We're not doing it like that.
Well, you got to think about it. I mean, that's brain fuel. That's
Right.
That fat is good fuel for your body. Like
Right.
we're learning all of that now.
Right.
Remember, butter got demonized. Well, we're finding out that was because of the sugar industry.
Right.
That they tried to make everyone focus on fats
Right.
for the heart disease and all of this stuff and cholesterol. Now we're finding out. Now they're finding out that even what was considered the bad cholesterol, was it HDL or whatever,
Right.
is now even necessary.
Right.
Like even that cholesterol is actually necessary
But
for
I
your
think we
body.
can tell though, because we never see these people. Nobody's obese.
Yeah.
And by the way, they drink it straight.
Yeah.
They're not sipping with
Yeah.
it.
And they make it dark as hell.
Yeah.
Right. It's super bitter. And the guy was like, "Yeah, we."
Because it's actually medicinal. It's for a purpose.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So I think we missed the point. Like food here has been so commercialized that we miss the point of nutrition, health benefits. Like even eating greens, like even eating certain bitter stuff, it's not gonna taste great, but it's good for your stomach. Like it just is. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we've taken that all away. Real quick to touch on it before about our diet, I would say I heard this long ago. They were saying the tie between the missing link, what they always refer to the missing link, paleontologists that study the remains of humans, they were finding these larger than normal lower jaw. This lower jaw, and they said that this has to be a different species of human being because of the structure of the bone here. And it just looks like a more pronounced jaw until they marked it up, anything like that. And then as time progressed and they started studying like tribal people like the Papua New Guineans, the Pygmies in Africa, the people in South America, they realized, wait a minute, these people are actually built like that.
Yeah.
Like their feet was wider. They're shorter, but they were more muscular. Their feet were wider, but their jaws were bigger. And one guy documented them tearing stuff with their, so imagine you have to rip open coconut. You have to, there's no pliers, there's no vice, there's no nothing.
Not only that, they didn't have sous vide meat. They
Right.
didn't have
Yeah.
processed
They're
foods.
eating
All that stuff.
they have to chew.
All that stuff developed a stronger jaw back in the day.
Right.
Even I mean, there's been studies that showed even in our 100 years of the last 100 years in this country, the jaw has shrunk, and that's why people are having all of these dental issues.
Yeah.
Because now all those teeth are trying to fit in a smaller jaw, and the jaws have shrunk because food is way too soft and way too processed.
Yeah.
So as a child grows through adolescence, they're not really using their jaw the way
No.
they normally would.
Yeah. So all of these things, like I said, when you look at it, it's like we've shifted the way we live, the way we eat, the way we function. So all of this stuff, and that's what led to diseases too,
Yeah.
because people were actually nomadic in a sense. People moved around. They never stayed in one area. This is a new concept where we're kind of like just
Hunter-gatherer.
staying there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Well, not
so
everybody. There are people who stayed in there.
some did, but for the most part, people were moving. So when you're done, like say you're staying in an area, when you're done, you cover up the waste and you leave.
Right.
Maybe not too far, but
Right.
like
They definitely weren't building cities where the horse manure was piling up so high.
right.
You know what I
And there's
mean?
an effect to that.
Yeah. But I want to show this video because you brought up like the idea of eating bitter greens. I sent you guys something.
I was gonna mention that.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw this where someone was breaking down actually the concept of eating vegetables and
Okay.
how it's not what we have been told. Let me play this real quick. Uh-oh.
Go Raggy.
Gotta unmute it.
Broccoli is man-made or natural?
Natural.
It's natural?
Yeah?
It's not. Broccoli is man-made.
No, it can't be.
It is. It's made from a part of a cauliflower, and it's man-made. 50 years ago, we didn't have broccoli. Yeah, every day you learn something, right?
This is what a lot of people don't understand about vegetables. Every single vegetable that we eat has been selectively bred to be very different from its original form. This is done through a process called crossbreeding, where you get two similar plants, grow them next to each other, and allow them to cross-pollinate. This combines genetic traits from each plant, and as a result, you get new versions of each plant with slightly different characteristics. Now you might be wondering, why do we create vegetables? Why didn't we just eat the plants that are available in nature? There are 380,000 different identified species of plants, and essentially, without exception, all of these plants taste so bad that nobody would eat them if we didn't put them through this process. The reason they taste so bad is because every single plant has a long list of toxic compounds that the plant uses to defend itself. Our taste buds identify these toxins the same way our nose identifies a terrible smell when something has expired. This is why you can't eat a random plant if you're in the wild. They are all poisonous. The vegetables we consume have been bred to be less toxic. Keyword less. All vegetables still contain a long list of toxins. Broccoli contains compounds such as lectins and oxalates, which quite literally bind to our cells and cause inflammation. This is why vegetables still taste bitter. Humans aren't born with complex digestive systems like gorillas or cows, which allow them to ferment and break down these compounds. When we eat plants, they cause harm to us. This is why humans do best on a diet that does not contain them.
Do you think?
You always hear vegans say, like, you know, the biggest animals on the planet are vegetarians, you know. So why can't humans,
Right.
you know, exist?
Because we created differently.
They
they
have
have
totally different stomachs.
Yeah,
Their stomachs actually ferment the vegetation that
Yeah,
they eat,
that's true.
and it goes through a different process in them so that it can pull the nutrients out of it. Our stomachs don't do that.
Right.
And if you like, a lot of the studies that they're finding right now is that eating vegetables does not really give you the nutrients that they thought it did at a certain point, because they don't pull from they don't absorb into the lower intestines
Right.
as well as eating meat
And
does.
we've hybridized them so much
Right.
that we're not. That's the part of the marketing that people don't understand. Is like you've essentially made a less nutritious but pretty version. Mm-hmm. Like we have really attractive people.
Yeah.
Not that smart.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, when you look like the things that people eat, like in history, were not vegetables. I was watching something about like carrots, how carrots became a thing, how potatoes became a thing. This is all like in the last couple hundred years,
Right.
Like these things that weren't eaten before that, which is crazy,
Yeah.
right? But you think like mostly it was wheat, barley,
Yeah.
right? Those are the main things people
Grains,
ate.
yeah.
Rice.
Yeah.
But other
And
than
seeds,
that,
lots of seeds.
Yeah.
yeah, a lot
And
of-
fruit. Yeah. Fruit.
yeah, and fruits,
And meat.
and meats,
Yeah.
and just learning cheeses, learning how to ferment stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, fish and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
That's the interesting part, is that we had to learn how to ferment things outside of the body because we can't do
Yeah.
them inside.
Yep.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the only thing that you would eat that was kind of green would be like herbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not eating plants.
Yeah.
You know, what I mean, you're just adding some herbs to something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now it's just so.
And herbs were used. Green stuff was used actually not pickle, but with meat for the flies and stuff like that. Because there's certain insects that won't land on certain plants because it is toxin to them. So there was certain. Not everybody had salt and
Yeah.
preservative. Like you use whatever you
For
can. Like
flavorings too. Yeah.
Even in the Caribbean culture, we still cook with banana leaves, and there's certain leaves that you still wrap. You guys do it too. The Puerto Ricans with the pasteles, right?
Yeah.
Like you could easily put parchment paper.
Yeah.
But the flavor.
The flavor. I just made. Liz sent you guys that
Right,
thing
yeah.
that I can't. I made a moke, shrimp moke a couple days ago, and
Right.
you have to
With
make it
banana
with
leaves.
banana leaves. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can substitute, but then you're gonna lose the authenticity of the taste if you know the taste. If you don't know the taste, you're not gonna know.
Yeah.
But there's a difference. When you put lemongrass on beef stick, you can easily go by the paste, but something about, you know what I mean?
It's always better fresh.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, man. It's weird how food has become such a crazy topic now. Like they're learning so much about our diets and things that we thought we knew. The food pyramid is BS.
And brain health too. Like it's
Yeah.
all of this disease, everything. why do we have so much people with Alzheimer's? Why do we have so many people
Yeah.
with heart disease? So much, like we just have all these things, and
Because of sugar.
right. But the professionals who are telling us, "Hey, watch out for this," and watch out
Yeah.
for that, none of them have anything to say about this.
Right.
Well, we've been marketed to for a long time, and
Yeah.
it's funny because it's all for the money, right? It's
Yeah.
all for the mammon.
Yeah.
You guys know where mammon comes from, right? Like that word.
No.
It's a Aramaic word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which you hear about mainly from when Jesus is like, you can't serve two masters. You can't serve mammon and God,
Mm-hmm.
right? You'll love one and hate the other.
Yeah.
Right? So mammon actually comes from the word amen. It's like connected to the word amen,
Mm-hmm.
or aman, which means to trust, right? So it comes from what's trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
So mammon has to do with getting you to trust in created things,
Right.
right? Anything created, right? Getting you off of the creator and getting you on what's created, getting you off of the source and getting you on resources. So if you think about it in that way, how can we sell you, right?
I just saw someone talking about this a
Yeah?
couple of days ago. I watched a video. Someone was breaking that down.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I think I wanted to have it for the podcast, but it was on that same lines.
Yeah.
About how like the devil's whole purpose was to get you to focus on materials and things, and man, it was a dope breakdown.
Yeah,
I see
but that's how we look at things in an inverted way. So we start to trust in what works for us, right? Like think about you. What do you trust in? You trust in your strength, right?
Yeah.
What do women trust in their beauty, right? They sell. So what do? They sell their beauty, right? Because this works for me, so I'm going to trust in that. So you start to trust in what do I have as a resource, and that's how. If that's the thing you go to, like that's the first thing you look for, it becomes out of order, right? So now you don't even realize that you think that that's your source, right? My source is my beauty. My source is only like I'll use my beauty on OnlyFans to get paid, right? It becomes an inversion.
Yeah. Man, I think that is exactly along the lines of what I was gonna show, but I don't remember what I did with the video. It's crazy.
But it connects to what we're talking about because all the food and how it progressed has to do with a lot of times money. Even you think about the carrots or the potatoes, they were trying to figure out what can we give to peasants? What can we? They were selling.
Right.
How can we sell this to them that it's a good thing?
I mean, that's literally why why you're seeing the pushback against. Did you see Virginia just banned those certain dyes and foods? West Virginia just outright banned it, which is going to cause a ripple effect because if they can't sell this stuff in a whole state, they're not going to be able to sell it in the whole country eventually. But that's the same concept. It's like, how can we use this corn in so many ways to keep selling it to the public? Break it down, and make something cheaper that we can just force feed everybody. And that's where you get cereal from. That's where you get, even oatmeals and things like that. The oatmeal is not healthy.
I didn't know that. I find that out too.
Yeah, oatmeal can't be really digested by human beings like that. It's horse food.
But at its core, it's how do I manipulate people in order for them to trust? Like companies are they want to be trustworthy, right? They want to show that they're trustworthy because that's if it's somebody you can trust, you don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah,
right. Well, this is what the marketing and the branding is for.
Yeah,
because you will trust in that. We're so used to that we don't need to see the head of the company. We just need to see an ad to make us believe that it's good.
Speaking of that, did you guys see that they're talking about banning pharmaceutical ads?
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, and it's like a huge topic. People are, the libertarians are of course like, oh, you shouldn't be banning things. Like, people should be able to advertise whatever they want. Blah blah blah. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it because I don't think it's that simple. Because when you look at it, how do you get a situation like the vaccine that they can push on everybody that the news organizations were afraid to tell the truth about because who's their biggest donors? How many times did we see brought to you by Pfizer on these news channels? How many times did the social media platforms cower to Pfizer and these big pharmaceutical companies? So they were censoring posts. They were censoring all. So you get into this weird gray area where it's like they're advertising, but they're also now in control of the media because the media is subservient to who's advertising the most, and they're the biggest donors. So, and then they're the ones lobbying, spending the most in lobbying these politicians as well. So, you know,
if you look at it again, like it goes back down to it's people. Like we have, in terms of America, you're not going to buy the stuff if you don't trust it.
Yeah.
You're not going to listen to the news if you don't trust it. It's all about trust.
Yeah.
So if we do a bad job, and that's what's happened, we've done a bad job at vetting people because we don't. When you don't know how to do it anymore because you let everybody do it for you, you know what I mean, you become very unskilled in learning how to read the room, you know, and figure things out. So then you rely on everybody else, and those people who you thought you could trust. It's like if you get somebody who's your accountant and you just don't. And how many times do you hear this of people, especially in the music industry, of people who they think they can trust, right, to do their accounting work,
and
then or
business
lawyers,
management,
lawyers, right, and then all of a sudden. You realize they took all your money because you gave them, you signed over power of attorney.
Yep. Yeah. It's crazy, man. Shout out to Courtney real quick. She said, hey, family, I did not even get a notification for the live. That's why we need y'all to share, like, and share. Go ahead, James. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, but, you know, for a long time we've been saying people need to wake up. I do think that a lot more people woke up in the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years, where the language that I'm seeing from people being a little bit more braver in terms of the media, in terms of what they're pushing. The advertisement of food, the advertisement of drugs, the advertisement of this certain lifestyle. I think a lot more people woke up and were like, wait a minute, this is fake.
Yeah.
Something is wrong here. And I think a lot of that actually came in co-partnership with the lockdown. Because let's just say the powers that be wanted a certain effect, and they got it they got what they wanted. There was a trial run, let's say that.
Yeah.
But what they couldn't account for was people coalescing and being like, wait a minute here. Like, because it starts off like, all right, we're just going to shut down.
Yeah.
But everybody's going to do the same thing. We still had access to the internet. People started reading. People started sharing things. It was the crazies versus the non-crazy. It was the vaccinated versus the unvaccinated.
Yeah.
And I think, whereas if we didn't have that time of settling down, you had nowhere to go, restaurants weren't open, things weren't happening, people weren't traveling, there was a lot of fear.
Yeah.
I think slowly people started to look within and start to question and be like, wait, that doesn't... Maybe not everybody woke up instantly, but I think what at least happened was the marketing monster was lifted.
Their stranglehold got a little bit loosened, right?
Got a little bit loosened.
What's crazy is like that the lockdown is what caused the boom in the independent media and podcast
That's
space.
what I'm saying. So all of that. So not just food. I'm talking about free thought. I'm talking about people started realizing, like, why is alcohol stores open?
Yeah.
They had more time to think too.
Yeah, we can't go see our grandparents, but they can protest in the streets.
And then all of the idiots who were grandstanding that came in a plastic suit to hug their grandma to show how virtuous they were, showed how ridiculous. My basic point of all of this was saying, sometimes in a catastrophic thing, after the water resides, there's still life. You have to look for it.
Yeah,
and it's like a wildfire. When a fire comes, it's devastating. When you see the fire. But when the fire is done and the first rain falls, within a week, there's life, there's flowers. So I think what happened here was during that time, the desired effect that they wanted did happen, but there was something they couldn't account for.
There was another wave behind it. Yeah.
And they couldn't account for that. This is why they scramble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think this is where Americans started to realize, wait a minute, we're not as free as we think we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're playing a lot of games with us psychologically. I still see memes to this day of people being like, "Yo, remember that they did this to us?" And
I see it all the time.
It'll be like the little arrows in the supermarket where you have to walk this way down the aisle. You know,
Yeah.
like all the dumb stuff that made no sense.
Only
or
one
like
way.
the sign where you have to wear your mask to go in the restaurant, but you could take it off when you sit
eating.
down. Like,
Or playing a flute
Yeah,
with
right.
a hole
the
cut
hole
out.
through it. Yeah.
Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
And I remember watching this old man. He said, "Listen, folks." He said, "I'm 84 years old. I'm gonna tell you." He's like, "I went through acid rain. I went through Cold War.
Yeah.
I went through
ozone. Hole
I
in
went
the
through hole
ozone.
in the ozone. I went through. We're gonna lose gas in 10
Yeah.
years.
Yep.
The fossils are melting. I went through all of this." And how relevant was he to say, I lived through all of this?
Yeah.
I lived through every decade as a new plight that they're trying to market. And this is another one. And so it's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna fear you. Just pump fear into you. We saw it every the time we've been alive.
Right.
Al Gore.
Right.
Right.
And but I mean, Al Gore said by 2008 the ice caps were going to be gone, and
right.
the Florida was going to be underwater.
Y2K. They try to scare us with that.
But you know, there's been a huge shift, and I think a lot of what you're talking about is what led to what we saw in 2024 when Trump won the way that he did. And now it's gotten to the point where I'm seeing all these articles about the Democrats are dead, they're imploding, they're in disarray, they're infighting, all this stuff. So I want to go through a little bit of this. And one of the things that Trump just did today, which was a huge kind of nail in their coffin, if you wouldn't want to say the Democrats party is dead, was today, pull this up, Lise, please. Today, Donald Trump signed an executive order to secure our elections by citizens have to show proof. They have to show proof of citizenship for voting. Funds tied to integrity, compliance, paper ballots, all paper ballots. AG to track election fraud, cracks down on late ballots, and axes Biden's voter turnout executive order. So he completely reversed that, and now you have to show proof of citizenship to vote.
Not just an ID.
No,
Proof
of citizenship to vote. So
Passport,
yeah,
probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
Which is fine.
do it. I mean, not everybody has a passport, but you could show proof of citizenship in other ways, Social Security card, something. But listen, you should have to, if you want to really participate in the electoral process in this country, it's not that hard to go out there and show some ID, show some proof that you deserve to vote in this country.
Right.
Yeah. When you think about like women not being able to vote back in the day, and then you give people their rights, but a lot of people just take it for granted.
Yeah.
You know, like they don't realize like people had to fight for these things, or even men. The thing with men voting was they go to war. They have to go to war. you
Yeah.
know?
They get a say in
They're
it.
sacrificing
Yeah.
a lot more.
I mean, you have to sign up to agree to be drafted when you turn 18 as a man.
Right.
Women don't have to do that.
Right. But at the same time, like, I don't have a problem with women voting, but my point is that, like, when now you give it to everybody, like, people can take it for granted. And you can't force people to take it seriously.
Yeah.
But I think if we hold people to a greater standard just all around, like, that's the issue. We just take things so lightly. And that's been our generation that's kind of rolled over to the next generation.
But think about it. What would be the incentive to make it that easy to vote where you could just mail in people's votes in an entire household? You can have illegal immigrants come in and just show up at a polling place and just cast a ballot with no questions asked. Like, what would be the incentive there?
Yeah. I mean, you know the
To
incentive.
cheat.
But this is what I'm saying.
That's
like,
what
it's
happened,
obvious what that incentive is. And Elon Musk even was candid about that when he was on Joe Rogan. I don't know if you guys remember that clip where he was talking about, like, the only reason why you would be against voter ID is if you want to cheat.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
only.
That's
There's
yeah,
no
yeah.
other reason.
That's why this is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Uh,
you can't be mad at them for doing the things that you kind of didn't say nothing about. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't be mad at that.
Right. I agree. I want to show this clip from this was done like maybe I think about
Can
a
I
year.
just add something real
Go
quick?
ahead. Go ahead.
So I think, unfortunately, because Trump has become such a polarizing figure, people will focus on what they feel is suppression. But they don't understand the reason we're here is because of fraud.
Yeah.
That's what was happening. So when people always, because the media is so good at that, and when I say good, I mean not good in they're excellent. I mean they're good at manipulating the people who want to be manipulated,
Yeah.
right? So when people see this, they say, "Oh, see, he's trying to no. We got here because of fraud and
Yeah.
corruption.
Yep.
We got here because of this. Because, like I said, that's a perfect question to say. The only reason you'd be against this is if you had plans to cheat.
Yeah.
And this is going to interfere with how you plan on cheating.
Because what is the argument that they use?
Yeah.
Like you said, people say it's suppression, right? Suppression to who?
So, yeah, who is
Who is being suppressed by asking for an
Well,
ID?
black people live in the woods and country. So you're saying that's stupid? No,
Bro, that's what I want to show right now because this. Remember, we showed this before, but this video went kind of viral again because people are showing this. Like the white liberals are so racist with how they view black people,
and they have
when
a
it
white
comes to
savior
this.
complex too.
Yes,
Big
The
time.
one in New York where they were walking and going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New York
I
or
will
LA?
play. I think it was in multiple locations.
Okay.
An opinion on voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad.
I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These types of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places.
They don't live in areas with access to DMVs.
Dude, there's DMVs everywhere.
Yeah.
You do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay
Blacks
an
don't have the
service
internet,
provider
guys.
for certain fees.
They can't afford the
Of
internet.
black people to go online.
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how,
They're not smart enough
Some
either.
people have smartphones, but you might not have data. For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware.
They're not- they're
not
I
aware
also
that you
think
need
there's
ID
a
to get
repression of
alcohol.
black voting with how if you're a convicted felon, like you're not allowed to vote and everything. And when you look at swing states like Florida,
Yeah.
that's
Most of the blacks in Florida are convicted felons. They can't vote. Like, this is racism, guys.
a huge population of the like African Americans.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID? That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so like we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with,
Right? What can you do in this world without ID? Like, this is just ridiculous.
ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy cameras?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that, on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is, Ryan?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Would you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get to the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
Where's the mayor? Get the governor. Is the governor?
No, the mayor. Oh, which one?
From New York,
Adams?
who said black people don't know how to computer? The lady.
Oh, yeah. it
Oh,
was the
Kathy
gov-
Hochul.
Yeah.
Kathy
Yeah,
Hochul.
that's the governor.
Yeah. Didn't Kamala Harris say something about that too? Black people don't have access to fax machines. Or
Yeah,
something
remember
like
it was like a push.
Yeah.
Dude, it was a push.
She did. I heard that.
Yeah.
The memes are funny.
But that's because they're listening to. You could pull it down real quickly for me, please. That's because they're listening to the race baiters the pundits on CNN. I saw a clip of a dude. Let me see. I have it somewhere here where he was talking about how when the Democrats get back in power, we need to eliminate. Here it is. We need to eliminate all voting regulations. Yeah, this guy.
Okay, so like what?
Well, we could eliminate all voter registration laws. See, when Democrats get in charge, we try to protect voting rights. We don't make voting easier. Now, I'm all for voter eligibility requirements. We might disagree.
Watch his voter eligibility requirements.
About what those requirements should be, but I'm going to say that there should be an age limit to vote. I might say 16. You might say 18. But
16, dude,
to vote.
16.
Who believes this crap? 16-year-olds, get them in.
At least you're about to be 16 in like a year and a half. You think you ready to vote?
Yes.
At least he might be ready.
She might be ready. She's a little bit more informed. But what about all your friends?
Nope.
Exactly.
I'm not going to say 8, right? So we're going to agree that there should be voter eligibility requirements. But once you're eligible, why do you have to pre-register? Why is that even a
Shouldn't
thing?
even have to register.
It wasn't a thing in this country.
That's before and after, right there, picture.
There's before and after Ozempic.
Founding, we didn't have voter
What did you say?
I said that was a good one.
registration in 1787. We didn't have voter pre-registration in 1821. We only started having voter registration, generally speaking, after the Civil War. Why do you think that is? It's because a bunch of freed African slaves were migrating up north, and all of a sudden New York was like, we need some registration up in here, right? A bunch of immigrants from Europe, mainly Ireland and Italy, were coming to New York. People were like, oh, we need some registration in here.
And
if
the
you're
white people
eligible
in there
to vote,
just like,
you should be automatically registered to vote, and that is how they do it everywhere else but us. Everywhere else but us either has automatic registration or some other form of forced registration for everybody so that you don't have this disconnect between eligible voters and registered voters.
So he wants to eliminate any type of registration for vote, any type of voting rules.
He's acting like it's so hard.
Yeah.
But this is hilarious.
It's not
in a weird
that
way.
hard, bro.
This is hilarious in a weird way because before the election, they were going in hard on black men and Latinos, right? Those two groups.
Yeah.
Latinos voted for Trump.
Yeah.
And they were like, those bastards.
They're racist. Remember I posted that clip where it's like, see, Latinos don't really like black people. That's the problem. They couldn't vote for Kamala because they're racist.
They think they're
so
white.
as long as you don't do what they want.
Yeah.
If you don't do what they want. Oh, man. That's funny.
But so Trump signed that executive order just hours ago. And earlier today, I saw an article from Politico. You could pull this back up, Lise, for me, please.
Isn't that a USAID funded?
Yes, it is. It says, we dug into the polls. Democrats in Congress should be very afraid. And they're talking about how they dug into all these different polls that we've been showing on the podcast. That they're at a all-time low disapproval rate. Republicans are on the rise and all kind of stuff. And they're basically talking about the infighting that's going on. Chuck Schumer, they're threatening to primary him with AOC trying to run for the Senate. So it's a crazy time for the Democrats right now because they don't really have an identity. They're trying to figure it out. Who their leader is.
Right. Not only that, but the campaign, I can't remember her name, Asian lady, Lee something.
Yeah.
She came out and spoke about poorly the campaign was run. There was no communication between Kamala. Even some of the people who've ran the local city Democratic leadership were saying, we never heard from her at all. We were just given emails and fax and memos, and that was about it. And then another thing that just came out, I saw it today, was this. They were saying social influencers were given an edict and a mandate to talk about her positive, disparage Trump, and many of them thought they were going to get paid and didn't get paid. And they said it was leaked. No, they were upset that
now they're leaking the information because they never got paid.
So that's what was happening. They were like, well, these people are just disgruntled. It was a wrongful email that was sent. No, it's those people that were paid to push a narrative never got paid. They were in the hole. Already. They were financially in the hole. Because if you're saying campaign staffers didn't get paid at all, they're not going to pay no influencer.
Right.
So basically those people are hurt. and they're basically upset. So
they had to give Beyonce $3 million.
Right.
So
They spent over $1 billion.
yeah,
right.
Didn't Beyonce get 10 though?
something like I don't remember. It was
think,
something
yeah, it was
ridiculous
like 10
amount.
yeah, up there, up there.
But when you look at the content that these people were making, it was so cringe and like someone made a compilation of this one influencer that was an anti-Trump guy trying to stump for the Democrats. Pull this up, Lisa.
Take that jersey off, bro.
I know he's got an Eagles jersey on, but watch this. Just watch how cringy and like even just disturbing this is.
You cannot make this up. Donald Trump just announced that JD Vance. You cannot make the. You cannot make. You cannot make the. You cannot make the. You cannot make. You cannot make. You cannot make. You can. You can.
That's the crazy thing about this to me. Is like these TikTokers become NPCs trying to make content. Like he's literally just wearing the same thing, doing the same thing every single video. It's it's so disturbing. But people will catch these videos and think, "Oh, he's just that's authentic." Like
My father-in-law's been sending me this on the hour.
yeah, sending you these type of influencers.
I'm like, come on, man, cut it out.
But there'll be like 50 people with that same script, you know, making those type of videos. They even do it with like you know products and stuff like that, where you see it looks like someone's authentically making a video about a product that they found. All that stuff is paid for.
Oh, sure.
All that stuff, and they'll all be making the same video. There'll be people have done compilations of that too, where it's like you think these influencers are doing something authentic. It's all scripted.
Yeah, and even that, like, I know for me, like, if I see something, you know, even if it's in terms of like something that's on the right, you know, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I'm always like, okay, let me look at their page. Let me see where they're, like, I investigate. Let me see what they're talking about. Now let me go. And a lot of people, like you just said, who send me stuff on the left, they don't look at nothing. They just see it. Well, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
What do you know,
They don't investigate it at all.
They don't investigate.
They just hear
nothing.
something that argues their point.
Yeah.
And they send it.
And they just run with it.
Whether it's valid or not.
Right.
Yeah, that is crazy. Let's listen to a clip of Charlemagne the God.
You cannot make it up, Jamie.
You cannot make this up. Charlemagne the God was on his Brilliant Idiots podcast with Andrew Schultz. Listen to him talking about how toxic the Democrats are right now.
You're a Democrat. I'm going to tell you the worst thing that you could do right now. Speak for that goddamn party. Okay? That party's brand is in such disarray. They have no ideology. The people that are actually governing, like the Josh Shapiro's, the Gretchen Whitners, the Wes Moores, y'all stay in y'all states and keep governing and doing the work.
That's it.
Distance yourself from all of that shit that's going on in D.C. Distance yourself from the party and speak for you.
That's it.
That's what I love what Josh Shapiro was doing on Friday.
Yo.
He didn't speak for the party. He was like, let me tell you what I did.
Yeah,
in
for my
Pennsylvania.
people.
Yes.
And then what will happen is we'll see you doing that for your people, and then we'll start going, I wouldn't mind if he did that for me.
Listen, I think, first of all, I like Josh Shapiro a lot. I think he would be a great candidate for 2028, but this is my only problem. My only problem with the Democratic Party is that even the people that are good, the brand of being a Democrat is so bad.
Yeah, you got to rebrand
it'll
that.
fuck this shit up.
Damn.
He's part of that too. I don't know why he's trying to distance himself.
I love it how he is acting like he wasn't one of the biggest stumpers for the Democrats.
Cut it out, man.
For
Little
Kamala.
turncoat.
All the Democrats. All the Democrats.
They call him out all the time, though.
Yeah, they do. They do.
The people on the on his.
He's trying to come off. He's doing the Gavin Newsom, Bill Maher thing where they're trying to sound more rational centrist now. Bill Maher interviewed Andrew Schultz as well, and they had like a big back and forth about it. But they're trying to come off more centrist now. It's hilarious. You know, because they definitely were not like that. You know?
Maybe he saw the light, man. Maybe,
You know, Bill Maher-
maybe him being friends with Andrew Schultz.
I do honestly think that a lot of them do feel duped by the Democrats, and the only way to save face is to not admit that I got tricked. It's to try to play this like I'm not one of the crazy ones that got fooled, you know, and went full in. I'm more of a centrist.
And there's another thing. Scope of it too is this. These are media personalities. They know what happens in the boardrooms.
Right.
So Charlemagne knows when he's being told, push this, ask her this, say this.
Mhm.
Bill Maher knows, even though they're famous and they have these, I stand up for this. They're part of the machine too, so they know fully well what the media, the conglomerate, were trying to do to Trump. They know it. They may not admit it to people. They're trying to act surprised because they're trying to maintain their brand too.
Yeah.
But you can't convince me that the popular talking heads haven't been in rooms where they were told, I don't care what, we're going to talk this, and this. So they know. They're just trying to save themselves, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't think they really particularly care. I think they're trying to maintain their shows, their status. You know, Charlamagne has no choice but to kind of
That's what I'm saying.
pretend to be, like you said,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But they know fully well what the media was trying to do and to destroy Trump.
Mhm.
You know, they just didn't think it was going to actually work. That's all.
And I think because if you remember right after the election, Charlamagne kept saying, y'all can't be saying, you couldn't have us out here saying that he's a threat to democracy and the
Mhm.
next Hitler. And then all of a
That's
sudden,
what he heard.
You invite him to the White House and you act like everything is all good.
That's
so
what
I,
he heard.
I think he did feel like,
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
like
Yeah, he
part,
got
like,
duped.
yeah, you
But
know,
he's
like-
not going to tell you
No.
that,
Yeah.
listen, we were being told to push this.
Yes,
He's
right.
not going to say that. He's just going to make it seem like, I'm like one of you. I got tricked too.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to do that, you know. Bill, maybe not so much, but him definitely.
Yeah,
Uh,
but that's
go
the
ahead.
accountability though that needs to get. I don't hear any of that from him. Like, it's not about being tricked. You got tricked. Like when people get,
you were doing the tricking.
Yeah, you
were part of that.
like
You
you're
were
a
part of
part.
that. Yeah.
you're a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take that responsibility. You can't now act like, let me throw it on the Democrats.
Yeah, I can't believe we got tricked, y'all.
Like,
I have a great example.
wait, hold up.
Go ahead.
This dude was in the worst interview with Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Ever.
Yep.
Like that interview was so trash.
Yeah.
And for you to act like that's my thing for him. Like, dude, for you to act like you didn't simp towards her. You
Yeah.
wasn't
Bro,
just like
he's been involved
Come
in
on,
some of the
stop it.
biggest disasters for politicians, period. The hot sauce in my bag with
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton
Yep.
that
Joe
he
Biden, you
didn't
ain't
push
black.
back
Which
against.
people on the comments were getting on him.
Right. Joe Biden, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. He didn't push back really against that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then,
that's true. Yeah.
you know, like, think about how many times.
Don't act like you just on some like you're all of a sudden you're educated and you know what you're
And you're
talking
just
about.
fair.
Come
I
on.
just want to
he
be
got
fair.
tricked. Like, I got tricked, man.
Yeah.
Me too.
And
No, you
even
didn't.
and even like Andrew Schultz not even challenging him. Like that's you should be joking about that stuff if that's what he does.
Andrew
He does.
challenges him all the
He
time.
does.
He does push back
and
on
he
him.
jokes. He jokes
I don't-
about
yeah, I don't
him
really
a
But
lot
more
of
to
time.
come to the other side. though.
Right,
More
right.
like, oh,
And
you should be over
but
here.
right after the election, he did. I mean, you saw him like messing with him. Like, you voted. You ain't vote for Kamala. You voted for Trump. Stop lying. You know, like he messes with him because he's like nobody was voting for Kamala.
And that's what the media is not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you. All of them are going to they want to protect their career first of all.
yeah.
But they're not going to tell you the language that was probably being spoken in those executive meetings, which is, look, we got to destroy this man.
Yeah.
Like, that's what happened.
They're still doing it now.
Right. But it's just like, this is completely. You ever seen a balloon that has lost all its luster and is like hanging around the floor?
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
You know?
Speaking of a balloon that's lost its luster, let me just play this because this.
I
goes-
just want to say
Go
this.
ahead. Go ahead.
I just don't like the fact that he's trying to act integral in any way.
I know.
That's
I
my
love
only
it.
thing. I just don't
But
like
watch, because this is right. Another example. Pull this up, Lise. This is Van Jones trying to tell the Democrats how they can fix what they need to stop doing.
He switched up real quick too.
He did. Well, watch this.
If progressives have a politics that says all white people are racist, all men are toxic, and all billionaires are evil, it's kind of hard to keep them on your side. And so we might want to think about if you're chasing people out of the party, you can't be mad when they leave. And maybe if we had a different politics, we actually said dignity for everybody, everybody's respected, and we need you, more people might stay.
This guy.
But again, let's go back to what we talked about in the beginning.
I mean, that's true what he said.
But
It's true what he's saying that now.
I watched this dude come to tears on the news talking
but-
about how evil white people are. Like,
You think these people ain't looking at the turnaround? You think these people ain't watching the
Their
polls?
audience members.
You think these people
Oh,
ain't
yeah,
seeing?
yeah.
You think these
Yeah.
people ain't seeing who's getting fired?
Right.
Come on, dude. It's about the money.
Yeah.
Their God is they know I gotta turn it around because then people will trust me. Like you said, he's right, but just because you right, you know, you could read the whole Bible and be right about it. That don't mean I could trust you.
Right.
You know, I can trust
You've
what you're
proven
saying.
otherwise.
And this is what
he's saying that because he don't want to lose.
He's saving his career.
He's saving his
career.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that because the people who are on the right and just want to hear the things that validate what they've been saying, like even the people who are like going hard at leftists, you know, acting like now they can spit in their face and ha ha, we up now, you know, like those type of that mentality,
dance on your grave type of mentality.
And then you coming on our side now, come on over, like no, I don't trust you. You shouldn't be trusting them. But if you just want validation, you know what I mean? If you're just looking for validation, if you're just looking, oh yeah, you were right, oh thank you, like it's not about that. It's about holding the standard and knowing, they already showed their hand. You can't trust them. You can't trust them.
What do you think about Bill Maher? He's about to go to the White House. Kid Rock invited him to go speak with Trump. What do you think about that?
I mean, that's on him. If he wants to do it, he want to do it. I don't care. Like, and even if they start talking differently, dude, there's going to be people who are genuine and there's going to be people who just fall in line. Like, we're going to start getting more conservative type movies, conservative type shows. That's going to start happening because people are falling
the culture is
in
shifting.
line.
And people are going to chase the money where they feel like culture is. They're going to that's how we got so far into the wokeness, because they felt like that's where culture was. So then on the money follows that.
Right.
Yep.
That's why I like
all those corporations.
That's what religion is. If we look, that's what religion is. It's about you do the thing, but it's backwards, right? The fruit comes because we are rooted in God, right? And then our actions start to prove who we are,
right?
Like, but people, it's the opposite for people that are just looking like. That's why morality, you can't look and see, oh, they're moral people. No, you don't know why they're moral. Their morality could be because of the culture they live in, and that doesn't mean they could be wicked inside, you know, but they're doing all the things.
Yeah, I mean,
that seem good.
Did you see that 20v1 where that dude roasted Sam Cedar? Totally made him look stupid because he was trying to. They were arguing about the significance.
On the Jubilee thing?
Yeah, they were arguing about the significance of God, and he was saying like, where does your foundation of morality?
Yeah, right.
So you're just, you know, and he could not answer the question.
Yeah, that's the humanistic trope.
Yeah,
though, like, you know, they always say, what's the thing they say? Because I think he said that, you know, to we want to stop suffering.
Yeah,
or we want to as little suffering as possible.
Right.
Is what we base our morals off of.
Right.
Which is dumb. That's like saying I don't want my kids to suffer at all, and I want to do everything for them,
right,
so that they live in a utopian world. That doesn't make sense. You're going to create weak kids that can't do nothing for themselves.
Right.
You got to teach. We talked about this, I think, the last time about bullies, right? Teaching our kids how to deal with bullies.
Yeah.
You don't do it for them, right? Parents, we just said
moms want to do it for them.
Moms want to go on the field and beat up the kid, you know? But dads are like, no, you got to handle that. You got to be able to handle that in a respectable way because that's what love is, you know? But that's how you see like this humanistic stuff. Like, oh, we know the less suffering because that is what's good. No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, suffering is actually a good thing because it tests people.
Yeah.
We just talked about going through COVID and everything. Like, what did that do? That tested people. You go through that testing.
I still see people driving around with masks in their car by themselves.
But even the people who failed, like who gave into the fear, right?
Yeah.
Even recognizing that's the love of God.
Yeah.
Like even recognizing, I did do that. Yeah, I did do that. You still have an opportunity to turn your life back to recognize, like,
right.
I need something greater than myself. Yeah, I'm not a good judge of my actions and what I'm doing. I thought I was better at seeing the situation. I thought I was better at judging this person. I thought, you know what I mean? Like
I thought I could trust the news sources. I thought I could trust the experts. I thought,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And since we're speaking about God, one of the things that people, they get wrong all the time. They say the love of money.
Yeah.
I mean, money's the root of all evil. People say
Yeah.
it all the time, but it's not money. It's the love of money.
Right.
And speaking of that, to me, this explains the talking heads and the punditry. I don't think that those people love what America is. They love what America can provide.
Mm-hmm.
They love the idea of, because they know in the world of media, they know Joy Reid gets 20 million,
Yeah.
Rachel Maddow gets this much. They all know that. So they're all jostling for this uncapped potential to make tons of money.
Mm-hmm.
When they go on these shows and they make and this is pulling back the veil a little bit. You guys know this. When they go make an appearance in The View on MSNBC, they get paid for this. So to keep themselves relevant and to not die on that bridge, where some of the Democrats, the politicians, may have to do, like AOC and all the others and Ilhan Omar, maybe they have to die on that Jasmine Crockett. But the talking heads, they're in a unique position. They can pretty much pretend that, hey guys, we got to listen to these people now because they still want to be relevant because their love of money.
Yeah.
They love money.
Yep.
So
And power.
they're not a politician, so they're not going to be, their feet is not going to get held to the fire the way, let's say, a Barack Obama or a George Bush would. Because believe it or not, that's really what turned a lot of black people on, a lot of minorities against him, was that he didn't do anything significant for the black community.
Yeah.
So they could hold him accountable. Charlemagne, people like him, the guy you just played, Van Jones, all the other, Sean Hannity, all of the respective people, their money is in the punditry of how they sell it. So if I could pretend now that, guys, we made a mistake, I may be invited on Sean Hannity. I may be invited on. This is what Stephen A. is racking up right now.
Stephen A. he just
He's
interviewed
another
Ben
one.
Shapiro today.
Right. So it's like, so they're going and that's what people are missing. It's not that he's trying to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
He's trying to, his brand is in terms of, my brand reaches everybody.
Yeah.
And if I stay in the center.
That's why he got $100 million deal from ESPN.
Right. And I think people miss that.
Yeah.
So it's the love of money, not money itself, but they love money and they know that, wait a minute, I could spin this as down the line guy.
Yeah.
I could talk to Republicans, Democrats. I could say, hey, they made a mistake. The Republican Party.
Yeah.
When
And you
he's-
don't think they're watching what the deals that the Joe Rogans are getting, the
Of
deals that
course.
all these independent media people are getting that are eclipsing the Joy Reid deals, the Rachel Maddow. So now they're saying like, oh, we need this shift. We need to shift.
Nobody would believe this years ago.
Yeah.
If you told them, wait a minute, podcasters and people with microphones like this are getting more views than the top rated shows that we're paying to. Even the executives are making that decision and saying, we got to get rid of these people.
Yeah.
They're not pulling in the numbers here.
Right.
So I just feel like people need to wake up to realize these people haven't found a new system of belief. It's just that their love of money, which is what they're worshiping, will go either way.
Yeah.
If Fox came right now and said, Charlemagne, we love the way you think, we'd love to have you right after Sean Hannity, he'd be on there like, the Democrats are idiots, I hate them. He would be doing
he'll
that
be
too.
like, I want to be the center guy though. I'm going to talk about the Democrats and the Republicans.
In year 4, he's gonna hate them.
Speaking of that though, we showed Gavin Newsom's podcast last week. And how
Perfect example,
right? This guy has completely shifted on everything he believed. So there was even CNN, to the point where even CNN had to call out his gaslighting, because he was gaslighting so hard with Charlie Kirk. There was one moment where Charlie Kirk was talking about like the ridiculousness of the Democrats, and he goes into how they were expected people to use this Latinx terms. And Gavin Newsom tries to act like, I don't know why people were even talking about this. Like, no one in my office ever said anything about Latinx. Like, who? That was never even a thing. Like, I don't know. Like, totally flipped on it. And CNN called him out. Pull this up, Lee, so we can show it.
So let's talk about the word Latinx. Just 2 weeks ago, here's what he said about it.
By the way, not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah,
We agree?
where did that even
No
come?
more
I'm
Latinx, everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from.
I don't even know where it came from.
But there was a person who used Latinx. It was actually a really important person. It was him.
And look, these aren't minor shifts. These are progressive issues that Gavin Newsom used to champion until fairly recently. And now he's not just walking away from them. He's sort of acting like they were never legitimate with that clip.
Gaslighting.
Talking about Latinx.
And I love it.
Is there any
First place, but
videos
let's
of him
just-
saying
Watch!
Latinx. We did find somebody who used it repeatedly in his office. Let's take a listen to this.
I hope we can really paint a picture in terms of our consciousness of how impactful this has been on the Latinx community. The Latinx and Black communities. Politicians that are banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. They're not even serious.
This is the only way you can win.
Yo,
Like,
how do you just straight up just
because these people are so cocky and prideful that they think that whatever they say, people are going to believe.
Well, no, it's because they don't have any real standard. But like I said, Mammon, love a bunny. You're only going to remember the things that are really what you truly love, right?
Yeah.
You're only really going to have a reverence for what you truly love.
So you're thinking that he forgot that he said this,
No.
even though he
No, I
said
don't think
it
he did.
multiple times.
No.
Like,
He's
bro,
used to it.
That's
I'm-
bad. That's bad
saying-
business because you're on CNN and all these interviews saying all this, and then you go on your podcast and say, "Oh, I don't even know where that
I'm
came
telling
from."
you.
I think that he thinks that people are so dumb that they won't care.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he don't know. He don't know what he says. These people, think about it, dude.
So you're saying that he forgot that he
I'm
touted
saying-
this.
A guy
saying-
as
I don't know.
as slick as Gavin Newsom forgot that he said that
I don't think
Latinx.
he's that slick. I don't think he's that slick.
Bro, just look at his hair.
I think he's. I don't think he. He might think he's slick. I think he's not as smart as he thinks he is. But I think he's done a lot of stuff. Probably in a couple years that he forgot about.
Yeah.
I think because when you're always pandering,
It could be.
just like Kamala Harris, I'm telling you, when you're always pandering, dude, how can you hold up? How can you remember
you can't
all the
remember
lies?
your lies. Yeah.
How can you do it?
You can't. That's
You don't
that's
have
one,
enough space.
Judge Judy used to always say that. Like if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember all your lies.
Yeah, because the truth is what you hold as a standard.
Yeah.
Right? It's where the truth is connected to what you're faithful with, right?
Right.
That's what you hold on to, really.
Yeah.
Right?
And this is a glimpse into politicians and people who are public figures. We're really seeing it now.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure if we went back in time and we were able to film people saying things,
Yeah.
we would catch a lot of this. Is just
Absolutely.
this is just the flaw of and the fallen nature of human beings. But you're absolutely. I think both of you guys are right on this. I think, like you said, like it's a lot to do with he's really good at lying.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it, he says so much of it that he actually forgets some of the lines.
Yeah.
and I do think it's pride too.
Yeah, it's
Like,
definitely
I
pride.
think it's and both because
Yeah. He thinks he's smarter than everybody.
because and I think the same thing with Kamala. I think there's pride in these things that you become so delusional.
the
that
BS has gotten you so far
Yeah,
that you're like,
that you
I can't. It
believe-
won't fail me now.
There's that, but there's another element too here, and I witnessed this recently. I won't mention it, but I witnessed this recently. I think a lot of people who think they're smart, when they come across somebody who they know has a proven track record of being equally smart, they fear that they're going to get called out. So they kind of tend to agree with them to keep it like, see, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Me and you are the same.
I don't even know where this Latinx thing
Where'd it
came
come
from.
And you know how I
It's
know
not-
that? You know how I know that? Check this out. It was proven unequivocally with Zuckerberg and
Yeah,
Joe.
Right.
When they did an interview and Zuckerberg came in and started to, well, they forced us to do this. And
Yeah.
I knew it was wrong. And then
Right.
Yeah.
he has a track record
Joe's funny.
of suppressing any information that led it anywhere where it was right leaning. Now he's pretending, hey man, I'm all for truth.
Yeah.
I was just forced to do
Right.
this.
Yeah, but it's not just about being smart; it's about being integral. Like
Yeah.
the why Joe works is because he might be wrong, but he's genuine in his pursuit in his podcast,
Right.
right? You know that about him, right? It's been proven.
Yeah.
He's pretty genuine, right?
And he's asking a legitimate question.
Yeah, and he holds people's feet to the fire, no matter who they are.
And the same thing with Charlie Kirk. Like he's done enough work that he has a track record.
That's what I'm
that
saying.
You can see.
Garvin has obviously seen him. He knows
Yeah.
who he's interviewing.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, it's about because it's back to you can kind of trust that he's looking to be genuine in
Yeah.
his pursuit. So that is important too.
Yeah.
And he's smart.
Yeah,
You know?
even we showed the clip last time on the podcast, but even in Gavin's questioning to Charlie Kirk, it's always about like, well, what strategy is it that you guys are doing so that we can do that? And he's like, bro, we're just being honest.
That's what I'm saying.
Like
Being
we're
genuine.
just telling the truth. Like
That's
try
what I'm saying.
that.
In
You
his
know what I'm saying?
attempt, you see what I'm saying is in his attempt to have a conversation, he's actually cowering to him.
Yeah.
He's actually cowering to him. This is an interesting thing because when you watch the interview with him, he's more asking him like, help us.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
even my son loves you. Like, remember, his son wanted to miss school.
He agreed with him a few times.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, so this is what's more left leaning than California, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And here he is. He's basically trying to be like, hey, man, I'm one of you. What advice you got for me here?
He even agreed that men shouldn't be in women's sports.
Come on now.
And he got roasted for that because you're talking about California, where he has openly been for this.
Now, isn't this indicative of why we say forget the showcase of a presidential debate with a moderator, with moderators, with live from CBS?
Right. 60 seconds to answer this question.
Yeah, and then go back zinger and all. I said bayonets and you said cow. I'll take you out back and play golf.
Right.
Instead of that, why don't we have points that the public want to know?
Yeah.
And we have two people sitting down, conversation.
Long,
No more
just
moderators.
like long form conversation like that.
As you see, these people who have these talking points, because I think when they grab a script and they speak in front of podium, and we're gonna get down on Latinx and we're gonna get rid of this, and it's so easy to go into that practice versus me and you sitting here and I'm like, well, Jamie, you said this, this, and this.
Right. Can
Explain
you back that up? Yeah.
Talking points, cue cards. What do I do?
Which is why Kamala wouldn't go on Joe Rogan.
Because you see, you
And that's what the public
you
is
see
asking
how
for.
polished or not polished or
That's what we're watching.
genuine or not genuine they are in these
That's what we're
long
watching. We're watching
conversations.
polished people pretend to be like, I take authority
Right.
and I.
That's why she won that first debate, because she was so prepared. Remember how much time she was spending preparing? They were
She
talking
did a
about
good job.
like
And the
2
moderator helped
weeks
her.
straight. Moderators helped her, of course, but I'm saying like she was ready. Like she was in a position where I'm gonna do this and do that and do that.
If
But-
we get rid of that and we actually have a sit down political where two people are talking about the ideals of the country, we'll see quickly who is.
Yeah, because it's funny. Like when you know, I watch a lot of debates, but more conversation type of debates.
Yeah.
And, you know, like even religious.
Right.
Like, and what's funny is you'll always have the people that you got to ask them a question over and over again, and they don't answer it.
Yeah.
They go around.
They go
it.
around
They go
it,
around
yeah.
it. They go
Or they
around
keep
it.
moving the
and then you got to
goalpost,
keep
yeah.
on saying, I didn't ask you that. This is what I asked you, right? And you bring them back to the question.
Yeah.
Why can't they just answer the question? It's because they know that they'll concede ground, right? They know that they're going to concede to the truth if
Right.
they answer it. And so then they have to spin it. And it becomes so obvious to the audience that is watching.
Yeah.
And that is the issue because people don't want to be called out in that way. You know what I mean? It becomes so obvious that it's like, bro, everybody gets frustrated.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this guy.
Well, that was one of the big, things about the Wesley Huff and what's his name? Billy Carson is because he gave up so easily.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was
Right,
like, everybody was like, oh my God, like he got
But that's what I'm
destroyed.
saying. That format, the format of having a conversation and or debate, and or versus, if it's put in a setting where two people are actually sitting talking, and people can actually have a dialogue, I think it puts a rest a lot of speculation,
It does.
a lot of mud throwing because you have to prove. You have to prove your point. You have to fight for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I watched a thing about a transgender woman fighting for science, and the guy was like, "No, you got to fight for that. You got to prove. You can't just tell me things. You have to prove that."
Yeah, the onus is on you to prove.
Right, you are
against
making this claim. And she's like,
thousands
"Why are
of
we
years
studying
of
the
bio-
science of it all?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you said it's
Right,
science."
right.
Yeah, you know it's bad when people start going to like name calling.
Yeah.
Hitler,
Bigot,
fascist,
racist, sexist, homophobic,
That's where
transphobic.
the conversation.
And I believe
ends.
all those words.
And I believe if there's two people in a room, that goes away.
Yeah.
Because people are also being. Let's be honest,
But
right?
even if there's two
It's
people
theater.
in a room and
Yeah.
it happens, it shows that person shows they're not really trying to have a conversation.
But that's what I'm saying. We'll
'Cause
discover who's the weak link.
Yeah, we'll see that quickly.
You find
Right.
out real quick, like, oh,
Right.
That's what you go to.
But
That's
think
your-
about it. Like you said, even the debate itself, the presidential debates, the primary debates, it's all become a spectacle. It's
That's what I'm
theater.
saying.
It's a big money maker.
Right.
Ratings for the whoever hosts it. They
Sure.
always fight to get the hosting because
Sure.
it's tons of views and they can sell pharmaceutical ads. So it's not a genuine thing. So we need to strip
Yeah,
away
get rid
all
of
of
that.
that. And just put them in somewhere where they can have a full-on conversation and see whose ideas went out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
that would eliminate all of that.
And as we see here, now that all these people are trying to, let's say, de-executivize themselves, they're no longer. I'm one of you guys.
Yeah.
They're trying to because they're in an executive role. But what they're trying to do is they got on the sweater.
Right.
They're sitting down and having a conversation. So
Right.
tell me about yourself.
Right.
You know, they're fully
Undercover
aware.
boss.
They're fully aware that they're like, all right, this stiffness that we have, this political jargon, these kind of like robotic talks, and this kind of I'll get to work, I'll get
Yeah.
to business, I'll roll up my sleeve.
Yeah.
People are not into that no more.
Yeah.
That the era of Clinton, Obama was the last that has ever happened.
Yeah.
But I think now that they realize that this podcast forum and this kind of sit down and have a conversation, people are resonating. And how do they know that? Because they're looking at the numbers. Forget what people are telling them. They're looking at the numbers and like, whoa, they got this
Yeah.
much ratings?
Yeah.
Even the Jubilee thing, where
The 20 V1s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little annoying too.
It is.
because it's
It
not
is.
enough time.
It's not productive.
No.
But the funny thing is, when you look at when it's left versus when it's like the left are in the hot seat,
Yeah.
you know, the whole time versus the right,
Right.
you always see that the left are always trying to get like the zingers.
Yeah.
They're always trying to say the things. It's more of an emotional type win.
Both ways.
Right?
Even
Right.
when there's a person on the right in the hot seat, all the people that come up to challenge them are just trying to get their viral moment. Like
Yeah.
they spaz out.
That's what I'm.
They,
That's
like,
my point.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But because when you looked at like the left guy, what was his name?
Sam
We were talking
Dean.
about-
Dean. Sam Cedar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like people were actually like challenging him.
Yeah.
And that does happen sometimes on the left. I'm not saying it doesn't.
Right.
It's just a lot of times it was
It's
bad.
emotional.
Yeah.
But
most of the time.
but that's the thing. It gets more emotion. It was
Yeah.
more emotional. Like the right, you're gonna have some emotion.
Right.
But it's like way different.
Yeah.
Where one side it's really about like here are the facts, here's the truth. Like but the other side is like, I want to get you.
Yeah.
I want to say my
destroy
piece.
you. I want to embarrass you.
I'm
Yeah.
a woman.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
I want to have a conversation with you. You want to shake hands?
Yeah.
And it's like all of these kind of things. I do think that all those things expose people really their quality of intelligence. I'm not saying they're non-intelligent, but their quality. Meaning they're like you said, they're looking for zingers and they're looking for their value. Yeah, you told him. But unknowingly what that has done is exactly what has happened when you see a bunch of old white liberals and black liberals up there talking about and this shit ain't gonna fly.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make it sound like they're fed up and
Well, now it's Jasmine Crockett doing that.
well, yeah, she's just hood. She's just ghetto. But my point is, when you have 20 people, all middle age,
Yeah.
most of them middle age, making the same ridiculous statement and throwing in the word, the S word in there, then how are you coming off authentic? And I think people are not buying it.
Yeah, they're not.
And here, like you're seeing this a lot. I'm seeing this in coaching soccer. Whether it's parents, whether it's coaches, other coaches, people want to say stuff and they want to cause problems, right? They want to get smart. They want to, because it's crazy how much this is happening, you know. Because they're and it's like, what is the example for your kids?
Yeah.
When you're snapping and you don't know how to deal with situations, and then after you say all that, guess what? The problem's still there.
Yeah.
You still got to deal with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, you ready to deal with this now?
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to this.
It's not going to change.
Yeah, you about to experience all of this.
Oh, he did so good today. I'm so proud of him.
That's awesome.
Last
man.
week was terrible.
Yeah.
Shaniqua was ready to give him up.
Really?
This was her idea.
Because he didn't. What was he? He wasn't down for the.
He got there and he just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
didn't want to do
I mean,
nothing.
he's young.
Yeah.
But this week,
He was all about it.
he was all about it.
That's good, man. That's good.
Yeah.
But he was playing with bigger kids last week.
Okay.
And they were like, Probably was like, and then the guy told us he's come back at another time.
Yeah. I wanna move on to this next thing because we're talking about the rift in the Democratic Party. We showed like that poll about who are the clear leaders, right? Who would you guys say? We're talking about how the Democrats have to be able to sit down and have these long form conversations. Do you see anyone that would be able to do that right now in their party?
Shapiro?
Josh Shapiro?
Yeah, I think
I think he could.
I think he could.
And the sad part is, because you heard Charlamagne talking about him too, like he does actually seem like a formidable guy. Andrew Yang, but he's left the Democrats. He left.
He did?
Yeah, he left. He's independent now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dang.
That was the thing with Charlie Kirk and Gavin Newsom. That was the funny part. He was like, "Do you like anybody in the Democratic Party?" Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard and RFK. But you guys kicked them out.
Yeah. Yep. And which is the truth. Well, the reason why I'm asking this is because over the weekend and over the past couple of days, the Democrats have been like trying to, and through Act Blue, of course, they're funding this.
Mm-hmm.
They've been trying to like push out this Bernie Sanders AOC duo to do these rallies. Have you guys been seeing this?
Yeah.
They've been going around doing these rallies, and apparently
I've seen people with Bernie shirts.
There's like 30,000 people showing up here, 34,000 people here, and of course we're finding out that these are all like fake people. These are people being paid. Like if you see here, you could see them take a picture on stage. Pull this up for me, please. And there's a ton of people there. Look at that crowd there to see AOC and Bernie Sanders. And they gave their speeches, but GPS data showed that they said, because they were claiming there's 34,000 people there, they said there was 20,189 devices, which is still a large crowd,
But
it says 84% of the devices present had attended 9 or more Kamala Harris rallies, Antifa, BLM, and pro-Hamas rallies. So it's the same crowd of people, basically, that they're paying to show up at all these events.
Yeah.
And they're being paid through Act Blue. They had a breakdown here. The massive Bernie Sanders AOC rally in Denver. Turns out it wasn't grassroots. As advertised, despite claims of 34,000 attendees, GPS data analysis revealed that the real number was closer to 20,000. Still big, but not record-breaking. More revealing, a whopping 84% of those devices had shown up at 9 or more other protests, including Antifa/BLM events, pro-Hamas and pro-Palestinian demonstrations, and Kamala Harris campaign stops. Over 30% had attended 20 or more of these rallies and events. Data analytics say that the crowd was anything but organic. The majority were tied to activist networks like Disruption Project, Indivisible, Democrat Socialists of America, Rise and Resist, and Troublemakers, all reportedly funded by Act Blue, and some receiving back it via U.S.
See, and this is what I think Kash Patel and the new heads of the FBI need to do.
Yeah,
is they need to really give a glimpse on how this works. I know that we know about it. I don't think a lot of people, because we're in this world, but I think a lot of people don't know. Like you said, when I showed you the Tesla thing, right? Mm-hmm. Paid people.
Yep.
Now, not that I didn't know that, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of people just see a bunch of old people with signs.
Yeah.
We don't understand. Most people don't get that these people are paid to go out there. Get it, like it's like you're extras for a movie, right?
It's to give the illusion that there's a groundswell grassroots movement going on here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think investigating that, and like I said, like most of them have cell phone. We could track, hey, these people were in this city.
Yep.
They were in this city. They were in this. This is not an organic, I'm fed up, I'm going to do something. This is an organized, be here at this time, collect your $300 later.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once that starts to be uncovered, people will start realizing this is not authentic.
Yeah.
Like we talked about before when during the BLM riots, right? We were still back in the old studio. We played a lot of clips showing people saying, wait, hold on, guys. That stack of bricks wasn't there. That gas can wasn't there. These pieces of pipe weren't here. We saw people directing people how to break things. All of those things showed one thing.
Yeah.
That this was organized somebody organized this, and somebody said, you're going to go down there, and you are agents of chaos.
Yep.
This is the best explanation I heard for it was a guy saying, listen, not all these people are government assets, but they work in cohesion with maybe a party, maybe an ideal, that they get paid to do this.
Yep.
They're agents of chaos.
Right.
And all they're doing is they're to come in, and they bring an amber.
You know that you get the temperature so hot that all it takes is one little spark, and everything goes crazy.
When during the George Floyd thing, the riots, there was a clip you showed. The clip was people were out there protesting, but there was no violence. Until there was one guy, a white guy,
in a
black,
mask,
starts breaking the windows of the AutoZone or whatever.
It was AutoZone.
Right?
Yeah.
He starts breaking it.
Just to start it off.
Yep.
And then he disappears.
Yep. And
is that the umbrella guy?
The umbrella guy. And then a woman said, "That's my ex-boyfriend. This is what he does."
Yeah.
Right? So how hard, and I think that's what we need to, like, okay, fine. Let's investigate corruption, but let's look into how do these things catch flame like that? Because I don't think people understand that.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to be like, look at those animals down there looting and tearing up the neighborhood. We don't understand that. Look, someone stoked that fire.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's the same thing that happened on January 6th.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same exactly.
They use the same playbook every time. And I remember showing those clips. Like, I had to go through X and really, at that time it was Twitter still, and scour because people were really posting like, yo, we showed up to the protest. Every block has a pallet of bricks piled up. How is that possible? It's not a construction zone.
And the footage of people telling people, don't do this.
Don't throw those bricks.
None of that was shown on TV.
People passing out bricks to people driving up in cars, passing bricks to people. Like, here, throw these. Like, but
none of that was shown, though.
None of that was shown. But if you were on Twitter, you saw it. But that's why we were showing it on the podcast. This was back 2020, trying to show this to people. Like, yo, this is not organic. What they're trying to make you feel like.
That's what people are missing. I don't think I think for them, we're so in tune to, I don't like you, I don't like what you vote for, so we hate each other, that we don't see the agents of chaos. We don't see how these seeds of discord are sown. Like I said, that guy just came, broke them windows, and right then it exploded.
It went crazy. And
you know
the thing is, once you can okay that, then you can keep pushing the bar even further. I want to show this clip from outside of the rally in Denver. I posted this up on our Instagram account, and it got a ton of views. I think like it's almost at 100,000 views right now. But this was the mentality outside of the rally. And we've been seeing more and more of this with like even people attacking Tesla owners. I was just talking to Dave about that today. Like, yo, be careful with that Tesla.
He has a Tesla?
He does.
Has he experienced anything?
Nah, he said, I can't wait for somebody to try. But let's play this clip real quick.
Beheaded Donald Trump. Are you calling for his death?
I am, yes. I believe it's time that the people straight cut his fucking head off.
I believe that the minute that Donald Trump decided to start ignoring judicial orders, he gave up the right to be the rightful president of the United States. He's an enemy of the nation, and yes, I'd like to see him hung by his feet by a lamppost.
You wouldn't necessarily call for violence, would you? Are you supporting violence?
Wearing a Luigi shirt.
I think there's the people in power, that's all they're going to listen to at this point. I feel like we've done the rallies, we've done all these things, and they don't listen, and that was something that finally got people to listen.
Only way we're getting Donald Trump or J.D. Vance or his ilk out of power is having tens of millions in this people in the streets. And we're going to have to have a few thousand people die at the hands of cops and soldiers before people get outraged enough to actually force the government to resign.
Yeah.
And my thing is, honestly, I'm starting to believe that a lot of these people who are on camera aren't actually grassroots. Those are paid people.
That's my point.
That's what I'm saying.
That's my point. And they got to keep the rhetoric going up and up and up, because then you start normalizing that thought and that behavior.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's to me, it's obvious.
Right.
Like, these people are always wearing masks. They never want to show their face. If you're so proud and strong about what you believe in, why are you always covering your face? That lady's holding the sign,
behead Trump,
with Trump beheaded, and saying like, yeah, I think we need to cut his head off. Like,
wow, her face is totally covered.
Face is totally covered.
You can only do that in the United States.
Right. Paid agents.
But the Democratic Party is, like, if you're looking at them trying to push the idea of AOC, she did have the most votes, but right behind nobody, right behind No Name. She had, No Name had the most votes, 30%. AOC had 10% of the vote as the most like powerful Democrat, basically. But we all know this. We've shown them so many clips for years of AOC being a complete idiot. And, you know, if the Democrats really want to push her as the leader, she's going to... It's going to be another Kamala situation where she's going to be trying to avoid interviews, avoid debates, all that stuff. They're going to give her all the talking points. I can't see that really working out.
she's never debate anybody. Candace Owens called her out all the time.
No.
Ben Shapiro. She never
the couple
sat down.
interviews that she did where people actually pushed back, she looked stupid, remember?
Yeah.
Like she couldn't answer simple questions.
Tom Homan, when she was questioning Tom
Yeah.
Homan,
he made her look dumb in Congress. But yeah, so you got that as I think they're trying to test the waters with that.
I think they are
putting her out there with Bernie Sanders, like trying to see, because you know Bernie Sanders had a chance to actually win the primary vote. So I guess they're trying
they
to
messed up with that.
Attach her, put her on his coattails, and like he's like passing the baton because he's 84 years old. He's not going to run in 2028. No. So I think
he's just an anchor for her.
Yeah,
if it is.
But
I don't think she's going to run, though.
But then you got other people in the progressive wing of the Democratic Party trying to primary people running for Congress. This girl went viral. She's a TikToker who is going to run. I don't know if you saw this, at least, but she's a young, blonde, progressive white girl. And let's listen to her plan here.
Donald Trump and Elon Musk are dismantling our country piece by piece. And so many Democrats seem content to just sit back and let them. So I say it's time to drop the excuses and grow a fucking spine. I'm Kat Abou-Ghazaleh, and I'm running for Congress in Illinois' 9th District. Unfortunately, this party has become one where you have to look to the exceptions for real leadership, as the majority work from an outdated playbook. We need a makeover, which means we need a vision that's bigger than what we've been told is possible. There is absolutely no reason you shouldn't be able to afford housing, groceries, and healthcare with some money left over.
I love that statement right there. There's no reason you shouldn't be able to afford money, housing, and groceries with money, healthcare, and money left over. Like you're just saying things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's with all the cursing? And I know Jasmine Crockett, she gets called ghetto all the time.
Yeah.
But she's doing it too. And I think because Jasmine is a little bit, but she's doing the same thing. What's with all the cursing that's happening?
I think it's because they're trying to connect with the youth in that way, because the youth has really foul language, you know. So I think they're trying to. She's 26 years old,
right?
You know what I mean. So
Jasmine isn't that old either. She's like in her early 30s.
Yeah. So they're
not making excuses for them.
They're trying to connect with the younger people, thinking that they're going to pull these progressives into the Democratic Party. But this idea, like the Democrats are talking about floating this Tea Party idea, like their own version of the Tea Party, where they start primarying all these people with younger people, more progressives, you know. But I just think like they're going to continue to fit like this girl thinking that she's going to get into Congress and get people to get on board with just free everything, guys. Like you deserve it.
Communism.
What does that mean? There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to. Like, I can think of a lot of reasons why people don't have these things. I can think of a lot of reasons why not everybody is going to have.
Right. I think they just don't want to say, the Democrats and the liberals don't want to say that the Obama effect is dead. The Obama-Clinton effect, because Obama is really a derivative of Clinton, but I think they just don't want to admit that the pull and the strategy of yesteryear doesn't work. And I don't think they want to throw him under the bus and basically say we got to abandon that, because they still need him there to grab the minority and gay vote. And they need somebody to come in that's going to literally abandon the Obama tactic, the Clinton tactic, and redo it. That's like Trump reinvented the Republican Party.
I think that is true, but I think what they're banking on is, like I said, the Bernie Sanders faction, these progressives like the Squad and all these people, but those are so far left.
Right.
I think that they're thinking that there's a lot more far left people that just want like socialism and communism than there really is.
Right.
I think they're going to lose the rest of the people that are in the middle that don't like these ideas are going to end up being like...
And they've already lost them, by the way.
They've lost a lot of them, but I'm saying they're going to continue to lose more, like the Bill Maher's, the Stephen A. Smiths, who will criticize the Democrats but still vote for them.
Right, we know, we can judge and see, we know that these people aren't really the best of the best.
How does that work, though? Like, I know there's a two-party thing, right?
Yeah.
If the Democratic Party got so bad with the polling of people, like they're probably at their worst right now.
Yeah.
Can another party step in, like the independents?
What do you mean step in?
Like an alternative.
Be an alternative to.
I mean, I don't.
Since they have no candidate,
I don't think that independents can gain enough steam and power to have impact in like Congress.
Right,
at
they
all.
have such a foothold.
So they would have to do kind of what Trump did. Is they have to have someone come in and change the face of the party, and either you get on board with that agenda, or you're going to get primaries. You're going to get,
and that's where
out.
the Democrats are. They're at a severe disadvantage because even though they portrayed the conservative to be more regimented in terms of their leadership, they're actually the ones who are very much regimented in their leadership in terms of like the ideals.
Yeah.
Where, look, there was a lot of Republicans that didn't like Trump. They openly said it. They don't like him. But
they still don't.
What they couldn't deny was Trump grasp on the base, meaning the people.
Right.
The people wanted this.
Trump had the people, yeah.
Trump had the people. But the Democrats, they speak to the people as almost like children. And they're not going to let the people decide.
Yeah.
They're not going to. All these hover parent, all these parents that pretend.
Right.
Like we saw the clip of the parent who's trying to prove via video that her child has her own thought in terms of their sexuality, and the child says, well, mom really wants me to.
Yeah.
That's what Democrats
Right.
are. Democrats are like, we are going to pretend that you're making the decision, but we really don't want you making the decision.
Right.
And Trump basically came in, and Trump says, listen, let the people decide.
Yeah.
Because let's understand this clear. Jeb Bush is a legacy Republican. Destroyed him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where the Republicans were at fault for not fully being on board with him, they recognized that what he had was the trust of the people, and they couldn't topple him.
Right.
He had that connection with the people.
They kept trying.
They kept trying. They did. But what I'm saying is they at least recognize that. The Democrats won't do that, and they'll fail because they don't want the people making any decisions.
That's true. That is the truth. And that is a great point. Like, they see them as children. Even her talking points, like, that's what bothers me so much about that concept of just like, you know, giving you the laundry. It's like almost like the guy that's running the trope of like the TV show where he's running for student council and he's just telling everybody we're gonna have you know
free
slushies and we're gonna do no homework, guys.
Yeah.
There's no reason why we should have to do homework. There's no like he's saying a bunch of things
Whatever
that
you want to hear
could never pull off.
Never
like,
pull off.
We all know that this is not gonna happen, but you're just saying the things, you know, that children will buy into.
Yeah.
We're all going to Disney World.
Yeah.
Do you that I still see your screen?
Yeah.
What scarf is that right there?
Oh, that's that pull it up, Lise.
Do you think that's on purpose?
That of course that's on purpose. She's running for Congress. No American flag, no nothing. What does she have in the background there?
What kind of scarf is that?
That's the
Palestinian
flag?
the Palestinian
Iraqi.
that's the Palestinian
The Arab,
we stand with Palestine scarf that they all wear.
Right.
She has that in
they
the back
stole
there.
from Iraq.
Yes. Well, let's watch the
We
rest
should
of her
have free
clip.
child care. Social Security should be expanded. And our inalienable
Free child care, social like
right
she just
shouldn't be dependent on who's in power. That means standing up to authoritarians, not shrinking away when the fight gets tough. And while current Democratic leaders...
What are you going to do to stand up again? What are you going to do? Like, it's
Give
just
free stuff.
You're just saying they just say things.
Ralph might have said all of this.
Yeah, without ever giving you any idea.
You gotta
of a plan.
fight the oligarchy.
leadership might be fine cowering to Trump. I'm not. I've spent my entire career reporting on the far right and being attacked by them as a result. In
What?
fact, just a few months
Is she
ago,
27?
She's 26.
Oh, Lord.
Musk's lawyers deposed me here in Chicago to ask about my mean tweets. Look, I thought comedy was legal again. This is all to say, I'm not scared of standing up to these people. I know how they think, and I know how to beat them. But my campaign itself is going to be different too, because I don't want to wait a year to help people. We're focused on meeting constituent needs with one simple rule. What if we didn't suck?
Bro, like, okay.
She forgot to curse.
Like, dude, this is what they have. This is what they're presenting to the people. This is why people are saying the Democratic Party is dead.
They
Like,
won't. I don't even think they would
Dead.
allow anyone to come in and radically change the trajectory of. I don't think they would. I think they're far more controlled than they pretend to be.
Oh yeah, look what Nancy Pelosi did to Chuck Schumer.
Right.
Just because he voted with Trump. You know.
Yeah. So they're not gonna let anybody walk in and do any of that.
Yeah, and you brought up Jasmine Crockett. I got to get into this story about her today. She got in trouble because did you guys see the statement she made about the governor of Texas?
No.
Yeah, she got in some hot water. You know, she's been on her like sister girl, I don't take no mess stint lately, and people are coming at her.
She didn't grow up in the hood though.
She didn't, and we're gonna get into that. So this is from Politico. It says the stigma is real. Disability rights advocates are disappointed in Jasmine Crockett calling the government hot. She called him Governor Hot Wheels because you know he's in a wheelchair.
Oh dang!
Yeah. Here's the clip right here. And he's in a wheelchair from an accident, like when he was 26, like a tree fell on him or something when he was jogging.
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yeah.
She's really leaning into the sister girl housewives thing. Like, I don't know where this came from. I guess
she didn't used to talk like that.
No, she didn't. And I'm gonna show that. But it seems like maybe she feels like she's getting a reaction from it, so she's leaning into it.
Definitely going viral for it.
Yes, absolutely. This was another clip that I posted today of her. A reporter was questioning her in the hallway.
Calling for violence on the 29th. Would you like to clarify your comments?
As you can see.
Congresswoman, will you condone violence at the time?
She pushes dude's camera away. Smacks his camera away. Let's watch this little clip real quick. We're just gonna go through some Jasmine Crockett ratchetness.
What other ethnic group got their elected officials doing stuff like this, bro? Crazy. And what's so crazy, a lot of y'all probably are clapping your hands applauding this shit, like championing this shit right here. This is crazy, bro. She's doing the chick that's drunk at the club face. What is she doing here? This is the ratchet tongue. She's doing the ratchet tongue, bro.
But like you said, she didn't used to talk like that. People were bringing up this clip of her in the past when she was running for Congress. Let's look at the difference here.
Look like Laura Winslow.
This is good old Laura Winslow.
Hi, Laura.
Absolutely. First of all, it's good to see you in the new year. You know, no one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress. It's just not what my plan was. But what I've always decided is that I would step up when there was a need. Listen, he up there, he's spewing all kinds of nonsense and bullshit. Let me just be real. And we weren't gonna sit for that shit. We wouldn't, you know. But when she called me and said, I think it's time for me to retire, and you're the one that I believe should take my seat, I really was kind of caught off guard. I didn't anticipate that. If anyone knows anything about the Congresswoman, they know. We showed up, and if he had some sense, then maybe we would have been about that life. But y'all know he ain't got no sense. So please give some love. This took a little bit of coordinating to do, for sure. We got some cool shirts. You know.
Yeah. So.
Theater. She's acting too.
Yeah.
Someone gave her. She's an AKA. I think she is.
Yeah.
Well, she's a fraternity member.
Yep.
So.
Which one is the real her? Do you think?
Which one is the real her?
Yeah.
I don't think either of those are real.
Mm.
I think both of them are performative. One to get her on the stage, and now that she's on the stage, she's believed the hype. I think she's
keeping it real now.
Right.
She's keeping it real.
She's neither of those things. You know.
Somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm. She's a liar.
See what Judge Joe Brown thinks about Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine Crockett is an idiot. She's got that wig weave in her head and those barn door eyelashes that make me think she's going to play helicopter if she flaps too rapidly and start moving up in the air a little bit. And frankly, the woman has no common sense.
That's
Judge
Joe
always
Brown.
racking on.
Judge Joe Brown.
So, and then the hype, I wanted to show this because people were posting this up when she was out campaigning for Harris, and the amount of people that were showing up to listen to her talk.
Not enough to be here. It's not enough for y'all to show up and vote. It's going to take everybody in this fight. And we cannot be deterred for any reason. Because if Project 2025 comes to pass,
Say it.
I really
Say
don't know where we will be if we will be any.
Yeah, she's speaking at a restaurant. No one's showing
I
up.
haven't heard too much about Project 2025.
They're still talking about it because the Department of Education, which we're going to talk about next, was just dismantled. So they said that was Project 2025.
No.
This dude gives a breakdown.
Walk with me
of
here.
Jasmine
Absolutely.
Crockett.
First of all, it's good to see you in the new year. No one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now it looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress.
A few moments later.
What is happening? Like, this is not America. This is a terrible nightmare. Somebody slap me and wake me the fuck up because I'm ready to get on with it.
Jasmine Crockett grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, where she attended private school her entire life. The prestigious Mary Institute, where tuition tops $35,000, and the Mary Institute churned out a slew of successful names. Sotheby's Auction House CEO William F. Ruprecht, U.S. Senator John Danforth, Governor of California, U.S. Senator and Mayor of San Diego Pete Wilson, sports broadcaster Joe Buck, co-owner of the St. Louis Cardinals Drew Bauer, World War II pinup girl Betty Grable, actor Vincent Price, model Devin Windsor. The list goes on and on and on and on. But you get the idea.
Listen, he up there, he's hearing all kinds of nonsense and bullshit. Let me just be real.
35,000.
Who ain't gonna sit for that shit?
I'm sorry, bitch. I don't speak EBT. She also attended Rosati Kane, an all-girls private Catholic school where tuition tops $14,900. Jasmine then attended Rhodes, where, surprise, surprise, she claimed to be the victim of multiple hate crimes. She also alleges she's represented by Cochran Law Firm for those incidents. But a 2024 investigation by the Tennessee Star found zero evidence of any hate crimes at Rhodes or any involvement by the Cochran Law Firm. Jasmine Crockett isn't a street sister. Far from it. She's a sorority sister from Delta Sigma Theta. She panders and acts hood to garner support from the liberal, low-info urban retards. And it works. Why do you think she won re-election? Like, what the fuck are we even doing anymore? Jasmine is not from the hood. Jasmine is not from the struggle. Jasmine is a privileged, snarky little female with a net worth of $9 million. Jasmine is right. She's not like us. And this video made me cringe so hard I almost shit my pants. Hey, if you like what I do and want to support my work.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. She is...
And she's part of the Black Gatekeeper class. We've talked about that here before. But there is an elite system that a lot of people who are in that world, their kids go there. They're groomed to be the next politicians. They're groomed to be the next executive CEOs. You don't just rise to the top. I used to always think like, man, if you work hard enough, but I'm realizing, though that might be true in terms of working hard, it's more for you,
right?
For the perseverance of you and your legacy than it is the legacy of the attachment to money and title that comes with when you get into those prestigious schools, when you get into certain things. You're making connections, and then you're giving out certain orders on how to do certain things.
That interview where she was, code switching into her white scent.
Oh, yeah.
She was talking about someone tapping her because they were going to retire for her to go down.
We need you to do this.
Yeah.
And
So she went to Austin so she could become a Congress. Yeah. This was a part of her vetting.
Right.
Let me play.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
The funny thing is when you even hear that, it's like, dang. So they just know they're gonna win. Like that's what I'm thinking when I hear.
No, they do because the people that they're primarying usually are like old establishment people that they same thing. AOC won her primary with like 3,000 votes, something crazy. Yeah. Like it was not. It's not like she was this popular.
I'm just saying like the fact that people are not even paying attention.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what's sad. Like people don't get it.
Right.
They're not paying attention to this stuff, man.
I don't know if you guys heard what's happening in my town.
What?
My mayor has been arrested.
What?
For DUI.
I didn't hear about that.
2 years ago, she got arrested for beating up her husband.
What?
It turned into a fiasco.
Wow.
It turned into a fiasco. She has said that she's not stepping down. There was a whole town meeting. And I think once people get to this level of power, they just love that.
Man, you got your own Tiffany Henyard? You know who Tiffany Henyard is? Yeah, you got your she's a white Tiffany Henyard.
And she refuses to step down.
Wow.
She refuses to step down. The whole township, she's mad at people. My daycare provider was a major supporter of hers.
Wow.
She has had enough. And she said, okay, I supported you, but this is too much. She's on video screaming and cursing out other people at a township meeting. She's doing this. And so
she really is Tiffany Henry.
That woman reached out to the daycare and said, "How dare you tell me you're not going to support me when I supported your business?" She's like, "So I'm supposed to support you unequivocally?" These people really believe
this is literally the same story. So is she a Democrat?
Yes. She came to my house a couple years ago and she knocked on the door. They were meeting people. And I said, "Okay." I said, "What's your platform?" She's like, "Go on my website and read it." I was like, "But you're here right now.
You're trying to sell me on your vote, and you're telling me go on my website." Yo, that is some cocky stuff right there.
"Go on my website." She's like, "It's all that you could read it." I was like, "But you're here right now." She's like, "I know." She's like, "But I'm not here for that today." And
what are you here for?
What are you knocking on the door for?
So you're asking for my support. Yo, that is crazy.
I'll send it to you. I thought you guys
send that to me, bro.
But this is
because I'll make this a clip, and we need that.
They have her. Now, she's saying she's in rehab, but she's been emailing.
She's in rehab?
That's what they said. She's taking some time, but she has been literally attacking people. So people are like, wait a minute. If you're getting the help you need, how are you on here attacking us?
This is crazy. This is wild, bro. I did not know this.
Yeah, this all happened. And the guy, Chris, who I know, he ran against her as a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
He brought up all of this, and people were like, wait, that's too low. He's like, this actually happened.
So they didn't want him to talk about it?
They wanted to talk about it. They thought he was taking a low blow with the husband thing. But she was arrested for beating up her husband. and like I said, this last one, the DUI thing, she just refuses to step down. And we're learning now that there's no protocol. Like, even the board can't vote her out.
Yeah, that's how it works. Is there body cam? You have to do a recall.
They're gonna do. They're saying if it's up for vote, they want to do a recall. One of the mayors, who I'm actually attending his wedding this fall, he said he would. He's a very much anti, Trump or anything like that. But he did say, because I was listening closely to him, I was like, you stand for this foolishness,
right?
Because that's what they're saying. She put the police in a bad position.
Did they have body cam footage of her with the DUI?
They have it, but they haven't put it out because they went to her house.
Because she was in there talking. Do you know who I am? She's probably all drunk. I'll have all your jobs.
She just refuses to go. She just doesn't want to go.
Wow.
So this level of political, this new era of it. I'm not saying that because I don't know the past. It could very well be that way.
Yeah.
But now this is such a title. This is such a dream come true. That
it's a stepping stone for them.
Gosh.
They're trying to move up the rankings. Mm-hmm. So you start at mayor, then you try to hopefully get governor or some kind of Congress seat, and then senator, and then it's president after that.
And so many people got up and spoke. A lot of people, a lot of women actually, went up and spoke and said, "This is outrageous now."
Yeah, this reminds me of Super Mayor Tiffany Henry.
I'll send it to you.
So much. Wow. I just want to play a couple more clips of her so we can get some of her ideologies that she has been speaking lately.
To them, the trans kids that want to play the sports, Lord have mercy, that is the biggest issue that we had. Since when? Since when? Find the little trans child that is ruining your life. Like, I mean, I'm just like, what?
Because they all voted against that bill to protect, male. And so she's saying this isn't an issue. This don't happen. Then she got in trouble for this one right here, where she was talking about, they were asking her about, they did this whole Tesla takedown thing. Because, they're against Elon, of course.
I'll make sure that I keep it short, but I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes, I'll make sure.
She's talking white again on this one, guys. Mm-hmm. But all she wants is for Elon to be taken down. This clip right here is her talking about... the migrants. Let's listen to her view on the migrants.
It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why They're so frustrated because they really want our local law enforcement to go out and round up people when they could be looking out for the murderers and the sexual abusers as well as the robbers. They want them to go and round people up on civil accusations.
It's not
come in
not
here
a crime.
illegally.
It's not a crime, guys. It's not a crime to enter the country illegally. This is a sitting member of Congress. It's not a crime. This got fact checked by X. Illegal entry to the U.S. is a crime because it's punishable by imprisonment. Improper entry can result in both criminal and civil penalties. Civil penalties under 8 U.S.C. 1325 are in addition and not in lieu of any criminal or other civil penalties.
She's our champion right now.
Bro, it's crazy.
It's wild.
Listen to what she says about the migrants, why we need them. Ready? Y'all ready for this?
How many of you are sending your kids to college to go and work on them? Okay, well, guess who is working the farms? So that you can afford your food.
So that you can have food.
So that you can have food. Now, how many of you are looking to send your kids into hospitality after this college education so that they can go and make the beds at the hotels? How many of you are planning to send your kids to college? Because that's what we do here. We send everybody to college. How many of you are planning to send your kids to college so that they can then go and build these houses? So the reality is that so long as we live in a capitalist society, there's always going to be someone or a group of people that will do work that some of the rest of y'all don't want to do. These are the people that are really making us great in this country.
So we need these illegal immigrants because we can use them for the slave labor that no one else wants to do.
It's
like she openly saying this. Openly saying who's going to make the beds in the hotels? Who's going to work the farms?
A lot of rich black women don't mind that part.
Well, Nancy Pelosi has said that too.
A lot of them have said that. Who was the other one on The View that said that? Yeah. Yeah, so Jasmine Crockett, the squad, a lot of them. Cori Bush, did you guys hear about her scandal with her husband?
No.
Apparently there was wire fraud going on. She's accused of submitting a false application to receive COVID relief funds, one of the those PPP loans.
Yeah.
Her husband.
Yeah, I do know a lot of people getting arrested for PPP.
Yeah, her husband is under investigation for that too.
What's her name? Just got what's her name? Maxine Waters.
What happened with her?
She took some campaign money and paid her daughter like $190,000 from that campaign money.
I did see that, yeah.
So a lot of them are getting caught right now.
All getting caught.
What she did wasn't illegal, though.
Yeah, it wasn't illegal, but...
All right, in other news, we got to talk about this because this was actually a request from one of our subscribers on Facebook, and I think they sent it to me like as a, what do you think about this? Because it's one of the people that kind of like still a little bit skeptical about Trump, and this is one of those things that a lot of people don't understand fully, and when they hear it, it sounds scary. Because Trump signed the executive order to start to tamp down the Department of Education. Mm-hmm. And of course, especially women, they don't understand why you would do that, what the importance of that is. Let's play this clip real quick.
We're going to shut it down and shut it down as quickly as possible. It's doing us no good. We want to return our students to the states.
So that is him talking about it right there. And what he said was we're going to return our students to the states. So he's under the belief that there's no reason for the federal government to be involved in our school system. And that's because of the history of spending more money than any other country in the world.
Money laundering.
With the lowest reading level, the lowest math levels,
Yeah.
the lowest science levels.
Right.
Yeah.
And
No
seeing
child,
no
no
improvement.
child left behind.
Right.
Which I agree with.
I saw this meme that was actually funny, though. It said, Democrats warn abolishing Department of Education could result in kids being too smart to vote for Democrats.
That's pretty funny.
But yeah, no, let's look at the current head of the Department of Education, kind of break down what's really going on.
Well, if you think about the fact that the Department of Education was actually set up in 1980, and we've spent $1 trillion since
Is that
then
Linda
to
McMahon?
educate.
Yeah.
The That's Vince McMahon's wife?
Yep.
Yeah.
She is the education secretary right now.
Wow.
Let's play it again.
Fact that the Department of Education was actually set up in 1980. And we've spent $1 trillion since then to educate students in our country, and we've seen scores continually decline. We're clearly not doing something right.
$1 trillion.
And so what President Trump wants to do is to take the bureaucracy out of education. He believes, as do I, that the best education is closest to the student, that parents, that teachers, that school administrators in the local areas know what's best. There is no one-size-fits-all for education. And what I hope the Education Department will be able to do as we are paring down and preparing to turn over all control to the states is that we can provide them with tools to help them. We can provide them with research. We can give them information on best practices that is working in many states already to get those scores up for reading and math.
Yeah, and when you look at the statistics by country, like what we're doing is not working.
Sure.
What we're doing is not working. We've fallen behind all these other countries in every single area of education. We have kids at the 8th grade level that still cannot read and are being passed through like this. It doesn't make any sense for us to be spending the amount of money that we do. And when you look at it, the numbers, I think it was something like over 50% of the employees in the Department of Education are not teachers. It's all like administrative workers. So, and they're making the bulk of the money because they have the cushier jobs. So, like, what are we really doing? You know,
right? And if you have a candid conversation with teachers, they would tell you that they're frustrated themselves because of the standardized testing. It's really to get them to a certain point where they pass.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, schools and some schools actually get more funding if kids are failing. Right. And not performing. I mean, I know that sounds wild, but I've heard teachers tell me that they get more funding on a failure rate. You know, it's kind of like what happened with when the crime bill was written. The police department that said we don't need a SWAT team.
Yeah.
You don't need one? We're gonna cut all of this. So, magically we need a SWAT team.
Right.
Because you have to remember when the crime bill was written, a lot of small towns didn't need all of this.
Yeah.
They were like, we don't have the budget for this, so they never factored that in. So they just had the cops, and that was it. They didn't need a SWAT team. They didn't need certain things.
Yeah, they started sending military weapons.
And that was where the military-industrial complex partnered with the government and said, okay, fine. You telling us you don't want this, we're not going to give it to you. So now, let's transfer that to education. Most of the teachers are kind of bottlenecked into it because their pension is there. They're part of a union. So they can't really teach. I think there's been this weird thing where teachers... with suspect teachers are grooming kids. I think there's a lot of good teachers. I've met some of them.
Yeah.
With my daughter. And they're like, she's performing great. She's this. And there's some wonderful people in there. But you could tell when now they're dealing with more kids have autism, more kids on the spectrum. These people aren't trained for this. These people have been there for 30-something years. Just want to retire.
Too many kids and
too many kids. An influx of migrants can't speak English.
Right.
People from New York that came down from different background. There's so many little factors that are happening that frustrate the teachers. And listen, if I got 2 more years to go, 3 more years to go, 5 more years to go, 10 more years to go, I'm really going to be like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
Some people, their will have been sucked out of them because of the system that they're in. They're not going to buck. Just like all those doctors that were speaking against COVID, where are they now?
Yeah.
Listen, they got fired. And they were like, well, shut up.
I'm going to play ball.
I'm going to play ball. So there's a human aspect where we have to understand that there's a lot of teachers that I believe and I know that want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But they're pigeonholed. But we need somebody like this to say, hey, let's look at the numbers. Forget your feelings.
Yeah.
Let's look at it. Where are these kids reading? What's their grade level? Like you said, let's compare these countries.
Yeah.
All industrialized.
Why are we
developed
falling
countries.
so
Why
far
are we falling
behind?
apart?
Yeah.
That's a legitimate question.
With all the money we spend like 10 times more money than any other country.
Right. And I also heard a veteran say this. A veteran, he got online, and I agree with this. I've said this before, but I agree with this. He said, listen, we could stop school shooting by hiring vets that are not old vets, but vets that are recently done, rehire them back into a school protection program. That way we don't have to inundate the police with it, but we have a constant presence. Every school has retired
like that,
veterans.
like how they have the marshals on planes. There's a marshal in the schools.
We don't
at
even
all
think
times.
about the cost
Right.
of that. We just
Right.
know there's one on there.
Right.
And TSA, we've gotten used to that.
Yep.
So, and he's like, so many veterans would flourish in this because they're already trained. You don't have to even go through a training. You maybe acclimate to the kids, but I'm saying like, there's so many solutions to these problems that we just has to be, well, it's not, this is the protocol and this is this. And I just think it's sad that we're sacrificing this younger generation in terms of education. There's a lot of people that are graduating high school that will never make it because they can't perform.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went through a lot too with COVID and everything.
That was a big one.
man. Kids got
Stunt
their
there.
school disrupted through COVID. And then you have like the talking points from the left, of course, because anything Trump does, they have to turn into
How the poor
worst thing
kids
ever.
are gonna eat in the inner city.
Yeah,
I heard
yeah. How are they gonna have
All that.
lunch? How are they gonna get books? How are they gonna do all these things that the Pell Grants, all these things? Like, how's that gonna exist? So there's been a lot of breakdowns of how this gonna work out. So I'll pull this up real quick, Lise. So people broke down this right here. Myth 1: access to Pell Grants will end. The fact the Pell Grant program was created before the Department of Education and will remain in place. Administration will shift to a different agency, such as the Department of Treasury. So they're moving that to a different department. American education will suffer. The fact the Department of Education has not closed achievement gaps or made education spending more efficient. Students, teachers, taxpayers are better served by ending this failed experiment. Exactly. It was implemented by Jimmy Carter in I think 1979 technically, but it like went into effect in the 80s.
Didn't they talk about how bad he was as a president?
He's considered, like, they call Joe Biden the next Jimmy Carter. Like, that's how bad he was. Public schools will close. Fact, the Department of Education does not educate a single child, and federal funding makes up less than 10% of the per pupil funding. Myth, programs helping students with special needs will end. Fact, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act will remain in place, and management will simply shift to the Department of Health and Human Services, as it should be.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Myth, school meal programs will end.
Yeah.
That's the one that you hear them saying all
And
the
it's
time.
never been funded by.
Yes. Poor kids in the cities will not get their foods.
Right.
The blacks. How are the blacks going to eat? This is just like the white liberals talking about voting. They won't be able to vote. Blacks won't be able to eat in the summertime. The fact is, these programs are already run by the Department of Agriculture. Closing the Department of Education will not end these programs. So, these are all myths that people are trying to throw out there to fearmonger to people, because ending this program is a good idea, but they want to scare you into thinking that Project 2025, see, we told you, Trump is doing it.
And your leaders like Jasmine Crockett is saying these things.
Exactly, and they're all saying these things. Let's look at some of these charts. So since 1970, the U.S. has seen an 84% rise in total public school staff versus an 8% rise in students. How does that make sense? We spend more per student than pretty much anyone, but test scores are plummeting and proficiency in basic skills is embarrassingly poor. You do the math.
You do the math, but there's also another part of it too, where now I'm seeing big companies like Google, Apple, Amazon, all of them are not
Facebook.
requiring college degrees.
Yeah.
Right? Now, why is it? Because these people are just that stupid, or they don't care about it no more? No, they really want them to follow their program. And so the thing is, especially with the school education, because it's so test score based, you're really developing people, because those kids that are in high school that score well, when they get to college and they discover the workload, all jump on Ritalin. Was it Ritalin? No,
Adderall.
Adderall.
Yeah.
And can't function in the real world.
Yeah.
Can't function.
Yep. Let's look at this next chart right here. Only 36% of fourth graders are proficient in fourth grade level math. In Baltimore, only 7% of students are proficient at math. 7%. Many California public schools have done away with ranking scores and valedictorian. We've seen this, we've showed these stories. Like,
you're lowering standards.
They're lowering the standards.
Yeah.
They're saying we're going to do away with these standards that we had. Only 40% of our students are raised by two-parent families and are now raised by these failing schools. 3 decades ago, the United States was the leader in both quantity and quality of high school diplomas, but now they are failing. Why do you think that has changed? This is the average ACT score, how it's plummeted over the years. Department of Education, $3+ trillion spent since 1979. Virtually nothing to show for it. Like, look at this chart right here. This is the spending going up, total cost, and look at the scores. This is the employees going up, the yellow line here, and then at the bottom is all the test scores. They just they either go down or stay stagnant. Nothing to show for it. So this is why this is a failed project. I want to show this clip of Reagan in the 80s talking about the Department of Education.
I propose, and would have already started, if your hypothesis is correct, a planned and orderly transfer back to the states and local communities of functions the federal government has usurped and which it has proven it is incapable of operating. And one of the first of those would be welfare. One of the second would be in the field of education. I would like to dissolve the $10 billion National Department of Education created by President Carter and turn schools back to the local school districts where we built the greatest public school system the world has ever seen. I think I can make a case that the decline in the quality of public education began when federal aid became federal interference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
who knows the students better than, the local
people, your own community, your own states. I mean, there was a time when schools were all privatized. We showed that clip before, that documentary about the Rockefellers. I wanted to pull that up because I had that clip from how they changed the landscape of education as we know it in this country. And this is why it all starts from changing that, making it a government entity, and then how that just continues to grow. Because even having our schools government run, we were way better off when they were privately run.
Oh yeah, big time.
Let me show this clip real quick from this documentary. This is on YouTube. You can find it if you want to watch it. We've showed it on the podcast in the past. I'm just showing this to bring people through the steps of why this thinking, like why you shouldn't be so afraid of not giving the government control over our education system.
Business dealings, Rockefeller made sure to get the better end of the bargain. He would donate his great wealth to the creation of public institutions, but those institutions would be used to bend society to his will. As every would-be ruler throughout history has realized, society has to be transformed from the ground up. Americans in the 19th century still prized education and intellectual pursuits, with the 1840 census finding unsurprisingly that the United States, a nation that had been mobilized by tracts like Thomas Paine's remarkably popular Common Sense, was a nation of readers, with a remarkable 93% to 100% literacy rate. Before the first compulsory schooling laws in Massachusetts in 1852, education was private and decentralized, and as a result classical education, including study of Greek and Latin and a solid grounding in history and science, was widespread. But a nation of individuals who could think for themselves was anathema to the monopolists. The oligarchs needed a mass of obedient workers, an entire class of people whose intellect was developed just enough to prepare them for lives of drudgery in a factory.
Now, you got to think about it. This was during the time of, you were just talking about this, the Gilded Age and all of that happened in the United States. So Rockefeller, knowing that that the Industrial Revolution was happening, they needed people that were going to work these factories, that were going to work these tireless jobs. So the fact that we had privatized schooling, we were at damn near 100% literacy rate in this country. People were proficient in Latin, but you can't have a working class.
Staff, yeah.
You can't have a working class with people that are that educated. So what do you got to do? You got to start taking control of the education system and creating cogs in the machine, if you will.
And because of the industrial age, they were trying to move people from the rural farming life into the cities, and also the people that live there, the sawmills, these kind of monotonous everyday kind of job, which started to be looked down on.
Right.
Come to the city, have a better life, you have better opportunity, your kids. Which I'm not saying that farming life and logging these rural jobs were any good. They were terrible too.
Right.
But I think how guys like Rockefeller did it, yes, in a sinister way, he orchestrated. But his pitch to the other industrialists was, we need a surplus of workers. Just like what you hear Jasmine Crockett talking about, we need a surplus of people who pick our fruit. It's not we love these people, let's provide a better life. She's basically saying, hey, listen, you don't want to be like them. Let them pick the food. That's why we need them here. They need to pick the food.
Right.
And we will enjoy this.
They're going
life
to
of luxury.
provide us our
They're
lifestyle.
Gonna, right. So essentially, if you look at it, what she's saying is the life that our ancestors have, let's tread on them. Let's tread on these people. Let's use them like we were used by the larger dominant society. And it's going to resonate with those people because those people don't want to go back.
Right.
This is why the threat of racism and back in chains, it always works with black people because we're very fearful of that.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. So when Jasmine says, hey, who's going to pick your food? Your kids are going to college. Most of those people have already come to terms with like, I don't want to do those things. I'd rather somebody do that for me.
Yeah.
And so they don't care about these people like, wow, this is a family, this is a wife, this is a husband, this is a child. They can care less.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what you're watching here because it's so easy to be like, look at her, she's a ghetto this, but she's essentially saying the same thing that the Rockefellers and the industrialists, billionaires said, which is the poor whites and the poor Southern blacks are going to be our workforce in these factories.
Yeah.
They're going to come up here.
And they even do it in such a sinister way where they believe they're morally sound because they're giving these people a better life. They're giving them an opportunity.
And if you convince yourself that you're virtuous, you will start believing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But you don't know, though, these people, I can speak because I came from that. I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. Working
in a factory or
Right.
a field at like 13 years old. The management
don't care.
They knew how old they were, and you know you want the cheap labor. That's the one thing. I actually was talking to somebody about that. Like you said that they feel like they're giving them something. So the living wage is not good enough for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're fighting for minimum wage to go up, but you know that these people are working for $3 a basket or $10 an hour or whatever.
And this goes back to what we're saying, the love of money, because the people who are in the management position, they are making the money because there's somebody who they can tell, go pick that. If they had to do it, they wouldn't do it. But they love the title that they have and the money that they get. And that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to see the crackdown on, the corporations, the factories that know, because there's agencies. I know this because, the immigrant community, there's agency that these people are being hired by and that these companies
That's happening in construction.
Yeah.
All these homes that are being built and thrown up there, who you think they're subbing it to?
Yeah.
It's not Americans. Most of it is Nicaraguan, Brazilians, foreign dudes that are come out there and they're willing to hang off a rafter with no insurance.
Yeah.
If he falls, oh well, drop him off at the hospital.
Yep.
So
and our taxes will pay for that.
Right?
What did Ray say? His insurance is still your fault.
Your fault insurance, yeah. All right, let's play a little bit more of this.
Into the midst stepped John D. Rockefeller with his first great act of public charity, the establishment of the University of Chicago. He was aided in this task by Frederick Taylor Gates, a Baptist minister that Rockefeller befriended in 1889, and who would go on to be John D.'s most trusted philanthropic advisor. Gates would go on to write a short tract, The Country School of Tomorrow, that laid out the Rockefeller plan for education. In our dream, we have limitless resources, and the people yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hand. The present educational conventions fade from our minds, and, unhampered by tradition, we work our own goodwill upon a grateful and responsive folk. We shall not try to make these people or any of their children into philosophers, or men of learning or science. We are not to raise up from among them authors, orators, poets, or men of letters. We shall not search for embryo great artists, painters, musicians, nor will we cherish even the humbler ambition to raise up from among them lawyers, doctors, preachers, politicians, statesmen, of whom we now have ample supply. Although Rockefeller's resources...
So, there you have it right there. His philosophy on it was, we have enough philosophers, we have enough lawyers, we have enough of these type of doctors, these higher thinkers. We need workers.
Right.
And the object of school, because school before that was to create those type of people.
Sure.
But his idea was we need workers.
We have, I just watched Tim Kennedy, former UFC fighter, talking to Misha Tate about his parents homeschooled him and his sister, and they were done by 15. They're like, we did everything that they sent us.
Yeah.
and we were done.
Most kids that are able to be homeschooled finish early.
Of course.
Because the curriculum,
we're wasting a lot of time.
Absolutely.
You know,
most kids don't know much about anything in terms of what they should understand in terms of history, in terms of geography, math, like
agriculture is totally removed.
Yeah,
this Common Core math is horrible.
Yep.
I don't even blame them anymore.
No,
I don't even blame them.
No,
when adults say these kids today. I'm like, what?
Like not being able to do basic like math in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Basic. I'm talking about like you got $10. Something costs $8.49. How much you got left?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like you will have a kid going to epileptic shock.
Yeah.
Like they won't be able to handle it.
I told that story about how I was in the Rite Aid.
Yeah.
I gave him a quarter
Yeah.
to try to get a 5 back, and it just was like.
And the thing is, you're actually trying to help them make it easier.
I'm making it easier.
I'm doing the math for you, but they can't
get there. You just broke their whole paradigm.
Yeah.
Because
and they don't do that because they're gonna get yelled at too.
Well, not only that, they're not going to get yelled at. The machine tells them what change to give. So if you you mess that up,
no. Here's what I mean when I say that. When I was in security, the counterfeiters would come in and be like, "Can you break a this? Can you break a that?" Not saying you guys are wrong. I'm just saying it would work on kids.
Right.
Hey, my man, real quick, you got change for this? And
Yeah,
this
yeah.
And that and this.
No,
and
I was buying something.
No, what he's talking
that might
about
be
is like if something costs, like say it comes out to, $12.25, right?
Right.
And you give them a 10 and a 5 and 25 cents.
Right.
Because you're like, I'm making it easy for you. Just give me. They can't do that. Like you threw them off because the machine tells me to give you this back.
Right.
So how do I make
true.
sense of that?
That's
You
true.
know what I mean?
I see that.
Yeah, you just school today. It tells you what to think. It doesn't show you.
And the multiple choices actually, it's been proven that like that confuses people.
Yeah.
Because they feel like, well, I don't want. Wait, hold
Well,
on.
a lot of tests
Listen.
they do that to confuse you.
Yeah.
I've done stuff with my kids where it's like
You're
you have
confused.
multiple. Yeah, I'm confused. Like, yo, they're so similar. It's
Jigs up
like,
all night.
Yeah.
and then when you see the answer, it's like, yo, how would you get that?
Yeah.
Like, you don't even. If I'm confused on this, then this
How
is
as a child,
the way
yeah.
they're putting this together is dumb.
That is true.
You
I've
know?
seen those where it's like overly complicated.
Yeah.
Where it's almost like you're trying to make them not understand it.
Right. And you know in the real world this is not going to work.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
They know that too.
Because things are so like you can make things clear.
Yeah.
And obvious. And the fact that they do it that way. Like, think about reading. The stuff that my kids have to read, they don't want to read because it's hard. Like,
Yeah.
it's boring.
Yeah.
They don't want to read this stuff. And I tell them I wouldn't want to read it either, but
You're
you
right.
got to do it.
You got to do
And,
it.
But then I explain, like, listen, this stuff is to make you not want to read so you won't read the other stuff. You
Yeah.
know? Like, my daughter, they were watching David, that new House of David.
Yeah, I want to watch that with the kids.
And
how was it, by the way?
it was good.
Yeah.
So then I told her time to go to bed, and she read 2 chapters of the Bible
Right.
from watching that.
To
you
know
what I mean?
to know more about it.
And
yeah.
then but she's reading on her own, like, because it makes sense,
Mhm.
right? It's something that makes
She's
I want to
interested,
do this.
yeah.
I want to go read, right?
Right.
But
It excited her to.
Yeah.
and I was trying to get them to, like, especially Jakey, like, don't let what you got to read in school cause you to hate reading. 'Cause
Yeah.
That happened to me.
Yeah.
that happened to me too.
Yeah.
happened to me.
Me
No.
too.
Yeah.
Me
Yeah.
too. For
I
real.
just hated
So
it.
because that's what they want you to like, because then it becomes like I won't even read instructions to build something.
Right.
Like,
Right.
when you're putting something together.
Yeah.
You know how many people don't read instructions just because it's too much for them?
Well, because you reading is now a trigger for you. It just feels like work.
It's a trigger. Yeah.
It feels like work. It's not anything.
Right.
Like, think about it. When we're
team.
talking about these privatized schools back in this time, in the mid 1800s, when literacy was where it was, people wanted to know how to read. Like, it was a joy to learn how to read.
But before the conglomerate of getting rid of information, because we have a lot of suppression now.
Yeah, we do.
I'm just learning about the Geneva Bible.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? This is Geneva Bible. I just learned that Schofield was tied in with the Rockefellers.
Yeah.
And he got him to rewrite the Bible, take out certain things.
Yep.
I'm learning all of this now.
Yep.
So I'm saying, like, there's a lot of things that were hidden.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can train people a certain way, you know, it's going to take time.
Yeah.
But these people play the long game. This
They
is
do.
not like quick turnaround. They know that this is a long thing. You work on this.
Right.
you
But
know.
that's why, like, what's happening now with Trump and, like, what he's trying to ram through in this short period, like, this is just the beginning. Like, this is going to be a long road of trying to fix all of this.
But and I agree with you, but what I'm saying is even the very elect were fooled. There's a lot of Christians that are struggling with certain things too.
Yeah.
Tithing, the Sabbath. Like, there's a lot of things, like how we don't keep none of the rabbinical law. We don't do none of that.
Yeah.
Like, we just follow everything. It's just church tradition. I'm hearing people say, okay, it's no longer Easter. It's what's the word?
It's no longer Passover, it's Easter.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things, like, so we too, the very elect, I think this is what God was referring to when saying the very elect would be fooled. That's us too.
Yeah.
We've been fooled by this because go to school, get an education.
Well, if possible.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, if possible, but it's happening in a sense, maybe not quite to the level of the tribulation, but I'm saying all of us have been a part of this system.
Yeah.
Even the way the Sunday school is.
Yeah.
Even the way Sunday school is being taught. Like, it's not the way it used to be.
Yeah.
So it's that organized form where we have to do it this way. You know?
Well, I was saying, I didn't finish. They teach you how to think, but
Or what to think.
Teaching, well, how to think. Like,
Yeah.
literally, like,
This is how you should solve a math problem.
Right.
Like,
But true teaching is you ask questions. You ask them.
Right.
What do you think about this?
Right.
You
teach them how to think for themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Not this is the way to think.
Right.
You know what I mean?
When we lost the game
Yeah.
in soccer, I asked the kids, well, what do you think we could have did better? What do you think we did wrong? What do you guys think? I'm always asking my kids questions. My kids.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised at the answers they come up with. I was asking them questions about, we were watching the House of David, asking questions about that. Like, I was surprised at the answers they gave. Like,
Yeah.
There was a part with Saul and they're like, oh man, he didn't kill the king and this led to that. I'm like, well, why do you think he needed to kill the king? Why would God make him kill the king? And like the answers they gave, I was surprised.
Wow.
But if I just tell them everything, well, this is how you think about this. Yeah, like then you see it becomes a dialogue, right? And it's like I get to see how they are processing it and working through it themselves instead of me giving them, no, you need to do it this way.
Right.
It needs to be done like this. But if that's all we know,
Yeah.
then that's what we do to our kids.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you see that with the generation that came before us,
Yeah.
where it's like, this is the way that you do it,
Yeah, that's true.
and that's it.
I was just telling my cousin that. I used to hear children are to be seen and not heard. This is big people talk. This
Yeah.
is grown people talk. Get
Right.
out of here.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that kids should be involved in every aspect of adult life, but I think one of the limitations is not helping your children develop. Because I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people, especially young people, don't want to talk about politics, or they're triggered. Because they don't want their friends to know how they feel, because they don't want to be ostracized.
Who's that sound like?
Right? But we're very worried about being cast aside.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it is when you haven't developed that muscle, not in an antagonistic way where you're looking for fights,
Yeah.
but you haven't learned how to actually have a debate and actually have a conversation like, no, I don't agree with that, but that doesn't make sense. Why? And everything is on God,
Yeah,
on God.
yeah.
And it's like, that's your answer for
On
everything.
God,
and it's
yeah.
like, you listen to these people talk, it's like, but you really don't have, you're just screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
You're not winning anything. So it's most of those things, the way to have a conversation should be really learned at home.
Yeah.
You know, like we talked about before, the mistake that a lot of parents make is their kids seeing them disagree, but if somebody's wrong, apologizing in front of them.
Yeah.
So they have an example there. But saying, hey, let's talk about this, because there could be aspects of life. Like for me, I was talking to my wife about the college loan thing, about the government offering that. And I said, but that's unfair to me though.
Right.
I said, because I didn't go to college and I don't make the kind of money you make.
Right.
But basically what you're asking me is to pay for your choices in school. Now, of course, I think, yeah, you want to get this absolved, but you made a choice.
Right.
Now, next year, if I said, good, well, here's the deal. I'm helping you this year pay off your college loan, but next year I want a brand new Ford Transit, and I want $10,002, because that's about how much student loan you have again.
Right.
We got to pay off the average $50,000. Okay, I want the $50,000 equivalent for me.
Right.
You know
that they don't like that.
Yeah.
Well, that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. Really?
Yeah.
Well,
you know what's funny is AOC and Jasmine Crockett got their student loans paid off by Joe Biden. So that to me, is that not a conflict of interest? Like, we're advocating and voting again on stuff that we can benefit from ourselves. Like, that's crazy.
Right. As they made millions.
Have made they're both worth multi-million dollars. Yeah.
Insider trading. Not by their salaries.
But I do have to give credit to my daughter, because you know, there was a long time where she was afraid to have the conversation with her friends, but she's learned. And I think a lot of it has to do with her engaging with me a lot and us and seeing how we talk about things. And she's been able to have those conversations now. You know what I mean?
And it's confidence. And, you know, you don't want to gotcha people.
Yeah.
You know, you want to love people. Like, and how do you do that in a way where they can receive it? And that takes time. That takes patience.
It does.
Yeah. And challenging people is good.
Especially when people are so emotional about things like Trump and you know, and Elon Musk at this point. One more story I want to play before I gotta, you know, wrap up.
It's getting late.
I know. This is along the lines of the derangement in the Department of Education. I don't know if you guys saw this story. I want to show you guys this. It's a doozy.
Black lives are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back. A call for action and fight for change.
We will
not be silenced. Community members and leaders made their voices heard in front of Allentown City Hall Monday afternoon.
Just to think that people have to go to work in fear for their lives.
Since Friday, Allentown police continue to investigate an item resembling a noose found on a city employee's desk.
This egregious act is not just an affront to one individual, but it is an attack on the entire community.
Several spoke during a rally calling for transparency, prevention, and an immediate federal investigation among a list of demands. This incident, community members note, is not the first racial discrimination issue City Hall has dealt with. Josie Lopez is a close friend of the victim.
They're always a community leader, always pushing for equality. They might be bruised right now, but they are not broken.
The victim is not being named due to safety concerns.
Our colleague was threatened. This was an act of terror. This was a hate crime.
So, when you guys hear the story of a noose being found, what does your brain automatically
Juicy
go to?
Smoulier.
I think a Scooby-Doo episode is about to play.
So it seems like they always go to the same playbook. And this woman, who worked for the Department of Education, this woman right here, Latarsha Brown, city employee in Allentown, PA, school board member, was charged with making a false report and tampering with evidence after she reported that she found a noose on her desk at City Hall.
I knew there was something to this.
Let's go to the press conference from the police that are going to talk about what really happened.
purpose of this press conference is to provide an update regarding the noose investigation. I want to take a moment to thank the following agencies who assisted in this case: Lehigh County District Attorney's Office, the Pennsylvania State Police Crime Lab, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Allentown Police Department conducted a thorough investigation, including interviews with persons, analysis of evidence, and consultation with the District Attorney's Office of Lehigh County. As a result of the subsequent investigation, LaTarsha Brown was charged with tampering with or fabricating physical evidence, a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree, and false reports to law enforcement, a misdemeanor of the 3rd degree. As in every criminal case, the fact that a warrant has been issued or a complaint has been filed is merely an accusation. The defendant is presumed innocent until and unless proven guilty in a court of law. I'm now going to ask Captain Milkovich to provide a summation of this investigation. Good afternoon, everybody. Captain Milkovich, Criminal Investigations Division. On January 10, 2025, at approximately 7:11 a.m., Allentown City employee LaTarsha Brown arrived at her office on the 3rd floor of City Hall. At approximately 7:38 a.m., Ms. Brown notified the Allentown Police Department that she discovered what she believed to be a noose on her desk upon arriving at work. Officers assigned to the Community Outreach Unit, Crime Scene Identification Unit, and Criminal Investigations Unit responded, initiating a criminal investigation to identify the individual responsible for placing the noose on Ms. Brown's desk. During the investigation, video surveillance and building access control records were reviewed to identify city employees present on the 3rd floor of City Hall between the time Ms. Brown left for work on the afternoon of January 9, 2025, and her arrival on the morning of January 10th. Those employees were interviewed. Each was asked if they would provide a buccal swab for DNA testing if needed. Every employee agreed, except for Ms. Brown. Initially,
They asked for DNA from everyone who was on the scene. She's the only one that didn't want to give her DNA.
cooperative, Ms. Brown later requested that the investigation be discontinued.
Yeah. She later said, "Never mind, guys.
Never mind.
I decided I don't care anymore about this. Things are getting a little too real here."
The noose was submitted to the Pennsylvania State Police Crime Lab for DNA testing on January 14, 2025. On January 24, 2025, a search warrant was approved by the Lehigh County District Attorney's Office for Ms. Brown's DNA, and a DNA sample was obtained that same day. On January 27, 2025, Ms. Brown's buccal swab was submitted to the Bethlehem Regional Crime Lab of the Pennsylvania State Police for comparison with DNA profiles recovered from the noose. On March 10, 2025, the Forensic DNA Division of the Pennsylvania State Police issued a written report indicating that Ms. Brown's DNA matched the DNA profile obtained from the swabs of both the outer surface and inner knotted portion of the noose after it was taken apart. No other person's DNA profiles found on the evidentiary items involved in this investigation. As a result of this investigation earlier today, Detective Harold Bonds of the Allentown Police Department filed charges against LaTarsha Brown at District Court 31-2-01 for the criminal offenses outlined earlier by Chief Roca.
Why do they keep doing this, man?
They've been taught well.
Bro, it's like
they've been taught well.
They keep going with the same playbook.
Because they know they want attention. Attention equals money in some way, right? It's always
clout, money, victim status.
Even just attention.
This lady had all them people out there protesting.
Yeah.
Talking about this is a hate crime, victimization.
Man, they don't know what it's gonna. They don't know. You know.
That's just the
You didn't learn from
Juicy.
I couldn't even say his name right. Jesse
Smollett.
She probably thought he was telling the truth.
She probably does still think he told the truth.
There's very delusional people out there. I mean, the fact that she would do this, you know, it shows you a lot of people, they don't care.
Just no.
So when you ask why the Department of Education is being defunded, they're worried about stuff like this. No, but I just thought this was a crazy story because they just did this investigation and
right up the street.
Right up the street.
Yep, right in Allentown.
Sad. It's sad though, man. Like, but yeah, you gotta weed these things out.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, but tying your own noose and throwing it on your desk.
Give it the old bite.
I'm telling you, like, she probably looked it up. How did you?
That's probably why
tie
she didn't want to continue, because they probably were like, let's get that phone.
How to show racism.
I just his mullet.
But it's like,
he popped up.
It's the crazy thing to me is like,
gonna go and tie a noose.
That's why the story don't even sound believable to begin with.
That's the same thing with the dude, the NASCAR dude, right?
Yes, Bubba Smith, was it? Bubba Smith?
Whatever his name is.
But to me, it's
always
like,
a noose.
You want to prove racism so bad that you create these unbelievable stories, like
because that was part. You know, I know we're joking about it, but that was part of black people's lives in the past for so long.
Yeah.
That those black people that are old, a lot of them were kind of older.
Yeah.
They would have been teenagers or children when that was popular.
Yeah.
So it still works. And everything that's marketed towards, especially the black audience in that way, when it comes to the story of civil rights, is around the noose and the slate. So we're triggered.
We were just watching Roots, and it's like if you saw that, you'll be like, yeah, that's still going on today.
Right.
You know, like they really do believe that that's still happening.
She probably wanted to get a book deal out of this or something.
Yeah. or a raise.
But she wasn't thinking like,
right.
Wait,
don't
DNA.
bite the rope.
She wasn't thinking DNA.
So when they said, "Oh, okay, we know what we're gonna do. We'll check the surveillance. Who was all in the building? Okay, let's get everybody's DNA."
You know what?
You know what?
I'm over it.
Yeah, I don't even care about this no more, guys. Like, no, you want to claim a hate crime? We got to do the investigation. But yeah, I thought that was
we got to follow
crazy
this
stuff.
case.
Yeah, I know.
It's so close to home.
Well, we'll see if if she can get a Kim Fox on her side. They let her totally get off like Jussie did. But all right, guys, let's wrap up there. I know you sent me some stuff, Jake. We still got to get to all of that. We still got the stuff from last week that you sent me.
I thought we wanted.
Huh?
No, never mind. We can end. It's 11 o'clock.
I know. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that stuff. Don't forget, go to the patreon.com/youngliontv if you want to become a member and support what we do, the type of conversations that we have, these topics that we talk about. Help us continue to grow this thing. And don't forget that if you want to get the merch, go to our store at our band's website, jatan.com/shop. Other than that, appreciate everybody. See you guys next week. Peace.
Young lion go live, yeah.